What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Good to see you all here. What's up, Sally? You were number one. You were here early, and I don't know why it showed up, but it did show up. Like your messages from 650, 653, and 653 did in fact show up, but you were also first after the stream started. You did win. You got it. You got it. What's up, Shrek Gold? Good to see you. How you doing today? What's up, Aya? What's up? Wait. I'll remember it. Hold on. You got to tell me again, UL. I know it's not UL, but Ultros. Yeah. See, you know, I got it. Ultros. I remember that now. That's right? Confirm it for me, but it's good to see you. You know, I'll get it after, like I said, 2 times. This is about the time it's going to take me to memorize it. What's up, SJ Phils? Good to see you. Yeah, you know, we're going to do a little bit of, we're finally going to get around to some Ansible today. What's up, Layla? How you doing? Yeah, people are getting active in chat for sure. Let's see. My mate, yo, what's up? How you doing today? Oh yay, it's Trey. What's up? Found the channel, looking forward to learning. Dope. Yeah. So, what we're gonna be doing tonight? What's up, Vic? How you doing? What's up, Delius? Welcome, the Boyoko. Welcome. It's good to see you all here. Warp, good to see you as well. Yeah. So tonight, we're just going to be kind of catching up on what we missed out on. We dove into what Ansible was. We dove into what problems it solved. We dove into configuration management as a whole. We tried to spend 2 weeks on infrastructure as code. We did some stuff with Terraform. I figured we write a little bit of Terraform tonight as well, at least to spin up our servers. And then write some Ansible to be able to manage the servers themselves, or to do the configuration management of the systems. Real quick, because it's been so long, we'll run back over the slides really quick for configuration management, just so we can get on the same page of what it really is again. And then we're going to go through and we're going to get some systems set up, and we're actually going to go through a DigitalOcean tutorial, a walkthrough for WordPress. And the reason why we're going to do it is because we can install WordPress on our own. And I've used Ansible a number of times to install WordPress, but because of WordPress has a famous 5-minute install, and I always used using Ansible or any configuration management tool. I would basically implement the 5-minute installation, but using the tool. But I found their walkthrough to be pretty interesting on how to get all the pieces set up in the way that they need to be set up. And I think it's pretty interesting. So we're really going to use it as a guide to touch the things, to break it down, also so it doesn't take us 5 hours, so that we can get through it. But yeah, Aerial Pig, absolutely. You know, we made our little Pokemon Yeet game, and so we had to change the wallpaper to account for it yesterday. But yeah, hey, I'm down for servers. I'm down for, well, I'm a big fan of serverless, but you know, it's all good. All right, so I'm going to we should get started, because I do need to I gotta do some work, y'all. I gotta do some work. It's really funny right now, because me and a couple of other people, if you all were on Saturday Coffee, a couple other people, we're all like working on a couple things right now. Everybody's got their stuff they're trying to do, and we're all like messing each other back and forth, like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have to stay up late tonight as well, so I gotta get out of here as fast as I can. Walking Legend, if you can change this display HUD, what display HUD? All right, I'm going to get first. Let's hop back into the slides real quick to do the quickest recap of configuration management ever. I think there's some stuff in here. Infrastructure as code and Terraform. I think there's another one, but let's dive into this really quick. Again, infrastructure as code. We were diving into the concepts of infrastructure as code. How do you use code? How do you use code to define what your infrastructure is? And not only the infrastructure itself, but also its configuration. So we talked about a couple different pillars of infrastructure as code. We talked about provisioners. These are things that can actually build the infrastructure, that allow you to provision the infrastructure and the resources that you need. We did some stuff with Terraform. Again, we probably will deploy some stuff with Terraform really quick, so that we can do some stuff with Ansible. But we talked about server and software configuration management. So what happens after you get the resources deployed, you get them up and running, you need to configure them, or well, yes, it's likely that you'll need to configure them, and configuration management allows you to automate that, to write code, to automate and to define what the server is supposed to look like, what the state is supposed to be, what's supposed to be on it, what's supposed to be running, what's not supposed to be there as well. And it helps you keep it in, it helps you keep up the server in a known and consistent state. Those are two really important parts, known and consistent. And again, we talked about some of the tools, and then Ansible was the one that we're going to be using. Now, we dove in to Ansible a little bit. And when we dove into Ansible, we realized, let me actually get logged in. We dove in and we saw that Ansible is great because it's agentless. All right, so there's no agent you have to install on the target systems. All right, so that means there's no service to kind of keep up. It uses SSH from a one host to be able to manage the systems that it manages, and therefore we need to keep up something called inventory, and we can modify our inventory file to tell it what servers it can manage and what servers it should manage. We can group them together, and then we wrote a little bit of code to be able to do that. Remember that Ansible uses YAML, uses the YAML format to configure what it wants, and that's what you're writing. You're not writing a special language, you are writing keys and values in the YAML. All right, so it ain't nothing crazy. What's up, Ezekiel? How you doing? So that's where we're at. That's where we were at over a week ago. I know it's been a while, so just wanted to recap that really fast. And let's get logged in and let's dive in. All right. Vic, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I appreciate it. Thanks for the love. Yes, this is Windows Terminal. And we'll go ahead and update this. I don't know what color scheme I have on Windows Terminal right now. Let's see. I think I'm using, I can't remember where it goes. Oh, maybe this is just the default Windows Terminal. Maybe I just only added the opacity. Give myself a little bit of opacity. Nah, I'm not gonna cut it down any farther. It's hard to, when you make it too see-through, it gets too hard to see. All right, so we're logged in. Let's make a directory really quick, and we'll call this Ansible _project really quick. And we're gonna go in here. Even though we already have an Ansible one, let's make an Ansible project real quick. And let's start the day. Let's start the day by configuring, let's get some servers set up so that we can use it. I will, let's do it with, I'm trying to think if I want to do it with AWS or if I want to do it with Linode. I actually think we still have the servers in Linode still set up. I don't think I ever deprovisioned them. But let's log in and see. If they are provisioned, I'm gonna deprovision them, and we're just gonna write enough code to make it work. So yeah, these are still here. I don't need any of them. I'm gonna delete them for now, even though we could just use them. I think it's better if we go full code this evening. And let's go ahead and delete that. And let's hop back in. And let's first make a directory for Terraform. We still have some code from Terraform. Yeah, we do. We're gonna write some, you know what? You're right. There is some code from Terraform in here. Maybe I can, maybe that whole state. Hold on, let me see. Where was it? Where do we put it at? Maybe it's in the Terraform folder, but I feel like it's not there for some reason. I feel like we switched over. Oh, okay. It's right here. No, but it's good. We can use this though. We can use this provider information because we already have it. Actually, this is everything that we need. I just need to set up my token from the command line really quick, but let me just make sure. Terraform, let me see what's in here. What do I have in here? Actually, I don't even have any. Oh, because it's asking for the key. I wouldn't even have to worry about that because I'm sure I already deleted everything. Let's take this main.tf though. I'm gonna take it and I'll let you copy it, and this will save us a little bit of time this evening. Let's put this in Ansible project, and we'll make a Terraform folder there. Terraform, and we'll move main.tf into Terraform. Okay, so really quick, if you want to take a look at what we did before, I'm actually going to change some things in this. We wrote originally, when we first learned Terraform, we wrote a little bit to utilize Linode and to be able to use the Linode provider to be able to deploy a Linode VPS. And this is basically the things that you need. We actually don't need to do, we can leave it as this. The one thing I'm gonna have to do is go grab my Linode token. I don't think I have that anymore. And I will set it to I guess I'll just set it to an environment variable to make it easy here. Okay. And it's gonna make a Linode instance. The problem, let's give it a better label. And let's call this, Ansible. Yeah, so it is, mine is ls-lh is what LL is alias to on my machine. It's a lot easier to type. It's not always available on a machine, so be careful with it. Well, not be careful with it, just, the first time I realized that it wasn't a normal Linux command, someone showed it to me and I thought it was just built in. And then when I didn't have it anymore, I was confused because I didn't realize it was an alias to something else. But ls-lh, and again, I usually alias it to ls-lh, and whatever the option is to append slashes to the directories, I usually change it to that, but right now it's kind of fine because this font and stuff shows directories, completely differently. And all I need is I just need a visual indicator that the directory is different from the file, to be honest. So yeah. Okay. So we have this main TF. Let's set it up to make sure I have what I want. We're only going to do one server right now. We could do multiple servers, but for right now we're just going to do one server. We're going to make it Linode 20.04 and not 18. I don't know why we did 18.04. We'll set it to this region. We'll leave it there. This is the type that we have to change. I don't remember how to find this type. So you do not need this TF file to go forward with this, but you do need to have some system that you are going to set up to be able to eventually deploy your Ansible configuration files to, your Ansible playbooks to. So you could do it manually if you have access to Linode. If not, you can, again, click the link underneath the stream right now. You can get $100 of free credits if you want. That's why we use it here so much, because you can get free credits to do it, so it doesn't cost you any money. And that's the reason I'm going to stay away from Amazon tonight, because this is not an AWS course, and I don't want you to have to pay any money if you've already used up all your stuff, whatever. But so you can do one manually. You can do one manually from here. You can just go ahead and create a Linode in the Linode VPS area. But if you want this, it will help. So I can, let me copy this to a gist and share a link so that you guys can just copy it, so that you don't have to do a bunch. It's not super important that you know how to write this. This will just give us one Linode instance. Let me first, before I do that, change this type right here, because I don't want that. And let's see, Terraform, a node provider. I think the Linode instance in the registry had a link to the different sizes. I'm gonna grab the smallest one. Let me see. Yeah, G6 Node 1 should be good enough for what we're doing this evening. I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna put it in here. And let me get this into a gist for you all. Whoa. And that should do it. If I copy this, this is gonna be problematic. So let me cat it out instead. copy it. And file extension. Just description, Linode server. All right, let me create secret gist. It can be public, I don't care. All right, let me give you this. You can copy it if you want it from here. If you don't want to have to type it out yourselves. But let's talk about what this is really quick. Again, it's still infrastructure as code. This is actually infrastructure as code. It is going to allow us to be able to provision web infrastructure. Here we're using the Linode provider. Terraform interacts with many different services. The Linode provider it's got all the information that's necessary for us to be able to understand how to interact with the Linode API. So we do need a Linode token and a Linode password. You can, on your computer, you can hard code this data in if you want. You can actually hard code it here. You can actually paste your Linode token in here, and and whatever password you want, you can put it here. I'm not going to do that so that you can't see mine. But I'll show you how I'm going to do it in case you want to copy. Which directory should it be in? So right now I have it in. I made a folder. I made a directory to handle the whole little project that we're about to do. And so I made an Ansible project directory, and then I made a Terraform directory for this. It actually could all go in the same directory, but it's a little visually impairing on the eyes, and then you got different file types in there. It gets kind of weird. So I just made inside of this folder. You can call yours whatever you want. The name of the folder doesn't matter. The name of this folder doesn't matter either. I called it Terraform just to be clear that my Terraform files are in here. And then right now I'll just go ahead and make another. Let me make another one for Ansible so that we can kind of see that we'll have Ansible in one and Terraform in the other. And I'll put this in the Terraform folder. All right, so like I said, you'll need to go into Linode. You'll need to grab your own, you'll need to click up here, and I think that's how you do it. Is it users and grants, maybe account settings, SSH keys, API tokens. You go up here, you click on API tokens, and you can grab one. I don't know what these are anymore, so I'm actually gonna revoke both of these. I don't know if they're still, I don't have the token anymore. So I'm gonna revoke them really quick. Cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a new token. When I do create a new token, so go up here, go to API tokens. When I click personal access token, it's gonna show it to me. I don't want you all to see that, so I'm gonna, I'm not gonna show it to you. After I get it, the way that I'm gonna do it, because of the way that we have this set up, is we can specify these variables in a couple of different ways. One of the ways that we talked about is that you can specify variables via an environment variable, a system environment variable. And so as long as I create a system environment variable called capital TF underscore capital VAR underscore, and then whatever the name of the variable is, I can set it up. So I can do something like this. I can say, I can export a new environment variable, which would be TF underscore VAR underscore, and then it would have to be Linode token. And I would set that to a value. So I would set that to something like, my token might look like this. That's not my token. My token might look something like that. That is what I'm about to do. I'm about to get my token, and then I'm actually going to paste it into this exact little thing here. So if you want to do it exactly like me, you need to have export TF underscore var, that needs to be capitalized, underscore Linode token, and we'll paste that in. You won't be able to see it, which is good. That's what I'm hoping for. So let me go ahead and just paste this in when you can't see it at all. Just call this stream token, and we'll make it only read and write for Linodes. All right, create token. I got it. I'll paste that in here. And I'm also going to do the other one, which was the Linode password. All right, let me make sure I clear the screen out and let's go back. All right, so there we go. I've set mine up now, and now I should be able to interact with Linode if I would like to interact with Linode. I hope that I can do that just fine. I think I'll be able to do that just fine. So what do you do first? I'm gonna do a Terraform init. The first thing that you need to do when you create a Terraform file and you have everything that you have the stuff in there set up that you need to get going, Terraform init will initialize a brand new Terraform kind of setup, a space for this. It'll create state. It'll set up your backend so it knows where to put the state files at, and it'll pull down all of your plugin and provider information that you kind of need. So there. Why is it not secure to show the token? Because that token gives you access to authenticate and authorize to do certain things on my own account. So I don't want you to be able to do those things. I don't want you to be able to deploy stuff into my account. All right, so we did that. It's all set up. And if I do a Terraform plan, which I don't need to do, well, let's do it. Let's do a Terraform validate, even though we already know it's valid, I think. Let's do a Terraform thumped. Let's do a Terraform validate. It's valid, and let's do a Terraform apply. And it should give us a plan right up front. Lets us know, hey, I'm gonna create this new thing. Yes, I'm gonna create this new thing of this size, and I'm gonna set up all the other stuff, and we're gonna get it going. Oh, the chat is no longer showing on stream, but burning yours is. That's weird. Someone else type in the chat. Let's see. As soon as you said that, it's like back. That makes me think you broke it and then you fixed it. Yeah, that was super weird. It waited until you said something about it. You seem guilty. You seem very guilty. That was, it's okay. Hey, it's working now. That's all that matters. We only look forward. We never look backwards. It clears when when I switch screens. That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. It probably, yeah. I wonder if there's a way to make that persist. Yeah, so I want this to deploy. So I'm gonna type in yes. And it can't. Password does not meet strength requirements. Okay, well, we're gonna lose the chat again because I need to put in another password. I wanted to put in, I thought it would meet strength requirements. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let's change it to something a little bit more healthy. A healthier password. Okay. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I'm missing chat messages. First off, what's up, Rogue? So good to see you. Last stream, he said he is not web developer. Doesn't know what type of programming he does. It's all new to me. Yeah. We are doing we're finishing up a series called Pipelines. It is DevOps, SRE, site reliability engineering. It's kind of infrastructure focused concepts. So the underlying things that help you deploy software and applications that you create and running things at scale are the things that we are learning about. There is coding here as well, but that's what today is about, and we're kind of finishing up something that we missed out on like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. We're just trying to finish that up. So we're using a tool called Ansible. And Ansible allows you to configure servers via code. So you can install things, set up users, all this other stuff. You can define it via code so that you have a consistent, reusable way to be able to manage systems. You can manage systems through code, and that's what it allows us to do pretty easily. So we now have a system up, and if we go into Linode, we should be able to see that now we have this Ansible server set up, and we deployed it via code. Longtime viewer, what's up, Nonner? Probably over a year now. Absolutely. I remember you. I definitely do. Would you ever be willing to do a stream segment reviewing people's resumes? Yeah, that's really funny. It's really funny because we were just talking about this, and we were talking about doing some coaching streams, and actually doing some more coaching streams and kind of figuring out how to give more concrete and direct feedback about the interview process to people, like individual situations. And absolutely would love to do that, but I need to figure out a good forum to do it. But yeah, for sure, I will put that on the docket right now. I'm gonna put that in my little notes right here as something to do. We can hop into it on a Saturday or something. But absolutely. Maybe today. Maybe if we have some time when we're done today, we can do it if anyone feels like sharing. Want to shift out of sysadmin roles and move towards DevOps. The good thing is that if you are in sysadmin stuff, it's very easy to tailor your resume a little bit more towards DevOps. You've likely done a lot of the things that are good buzzwords and good catches, and it's relatively simple to kind of shift it over. Even if you don't have any DevOps experience, it becomes pretty easy to target your resume a little bit more towards that. Red, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Thank you for the love. Thank you. If you feel like you're ready, then you were ready. You were probably ready a little while ago. But absolutely, that's great. If you need any help making the jump, the jobs are here. The jobs are here, y'all. They're here, waiting for people. We're just waiting for a couple more companies to fill out some things really quick, and then we're gonna bring all the jobs to you. So there will be some DevOps roles and things coming to the channel for you all to get like first dibs access to, and be able to talk to people and not get ghosted on them, and to be able to get some feedback about what your resume looks like to them and what they're looking for. A little more concrete way for companies to be able to market their roles that they have. A Linux build engineer that knows Ansible. Yeah, there we go. There we go right there. Okay, so we have our Ansible server set up. This is a simple server. It's just Ubuntu 20.04, nothing else on it. We can see our IP address here. If we log in, it will be great, and it'll be fine. So a Linux build engineer, every company highlights their jobs differently. I don't know what that company means by Linux build engineer. I'm assuming when I see that, I'm assuming that they're just saying that the primary operating system that they're building on is Linux. But to me, whenever I see build engineer, it would be likely someone who is a part of building out CI processes. Almost always, you see build and release engineers, build engineers. You are developing pipelines and workflows just on Linux to be able to deploy software. Really, like a CI/CD engineer is what I read when I see that. I could be way off. I could definitely be way off, because again, every company just chooses relatively arbitrary names, but it's probably more like a build and release engineer. You help move the code through the pipeline just on Linux, or you're going to be building Linux. Who knows? Or you're going to be maybe you'll be contributing to the Linux kernel. I don't know. The sysadmin stuff is where I tend to fall down. I'm trying to do Red Hat cert now. The Red Hat cert is hard. The Red Hat cert is you get that Red Hat cert. Even if you get close to getting the Red Hat cert, you know way more Linux than most people. It's not an easy cert, and I do think I will say that getting the Red Hat cert is one of the few. I feel like it's one of the few certifications where I feel like you know how to use the thing now. Like you've learned all you do know how to use the thing if you're able to get the Red Hat cert. I think there's very few certifications that are like that. I know you're all good. We got time. Okay, so let's get into the Ansible portion. We already wrote a little bit of Terraform. Super easy. We're done with Terraform now. So in the workplace, you might do something like this. You might write some Terraform to be able to spin up the infrastructure, which we just did. Okay, now let's write some Ansible to be able to manage the system that was just spun up. We don't want to have to log into it. We want to be able to do all the management via code. We don't want to interface with it manually at all. So let's hop in and do it. So let's go in here and go to Ansible. And what we're going to be working off of is here. And I'm hoping this, wait, I closed it. I'm hoping that it seems like there's a lot of concepts in this. As I was going through it in my head, it seemed like there was a whole lot of concepts that I wanted to touch on here that I think would make this a good kind of capstone to the things that we're doing. Because I think it has a lot of ops centered information in it. If you've never set up WordPress even if you set up WordPress, you may not understand what's actually happening under the hood and what the different pieces are. And I think it'll give us a good opportunity to talk about a lot of different pieces. So this is what we're going to be following along with. It's old. We might have to update some things on our own. We might have to, veer off the path, but it's going to be a good base because there's a ton of information. Even if you look at the prerequisites and what the playbook does, it talks about 12 different steps in there. And it's not all hard, but there are things that you might not dive into again if you did the WordPress famous 5-minute install. So WordPress install. If you've never used WordPress, if you've never used WordPress to build something, guarantee you've been to a WordPress site before. 100%. WordPress powers a substantial portion of the internet. It is a content management system. However you feel about it, I don't have a lot of love for WordPress, but it is a product that people use to be able to build websites. It also helps you author content as well. It was originally made for blogging, but as its uses have outgrown what it was originally intended for, and it's something that's used a lot. To install it, it runs on a LAMP stack. So I think stacks are pretty important, especially when we're talking about infrastructure as code and understanding what we're deploying to. Stacks, technical stacks, tech stacks. They usually consist of a couple different things. There's some things that they kind of must consist of, and then some optional items. But usually it consists of an operating system. So ours in this scenario is gonna be Linux. It's usually an operating system. There's usually a web server in there. There's usually the language that the application or the piece of technology is going to be built on or run on, frameworks as well, and often however you're persisting your data. So usually a database. That's usually what the tech stack is. That's usually what it consists of. Whenever people ask about that and you're like, hey, what does tech stack mean? It usually means the stack of tools, the suite of tools that's needed to run the application. And again, that usually consists of an operating system, a language or framework, or language and a framework sometimes, a web server usually, and a database. So this runs on a LAMP stack. Linux is the operating system. Apache is the web server. MySQL is the persistent data storage to the database, and PHP is the language or framework that this runs off of. So this is a PHP application. It uses Apache to serve its content as the web server, and it runs on Linux. It can run on Windows as well, but it runs on a LAMP stack. So just some good information there. If you go into an interview, LAMP stack is a tech stack that you should write down and dive into a little bit. It's a pretty popular one. If you've ever heard of Joomla, if you've ever heard of, there's a bunch of these, Concrete 5, Drupal. There's a bunch of content management systems that are built on this stack in particular. A little old school, but it is what it is. So this playbook allows us to do all of the things that you need individually, I think it does. I actually haven't deployed it, but it looked complete. It looks like it has a lot of different pieces in it. And they want to start with installing Aptitude. This was the thing that confused us like a year ago. We got some clarification on it. We dove into it. Aptitude is a package manager. A lot of people think apt is the package manager. We cleared that up in Waddle. And apt, the package manager that we use on Ubuntu to be able to easily install applications, actually stands for Advanced Package Tool. But Aptitude is one as well, and I think it lives over top of Advanced Package Tool. And so it looks like apparently that's preferred to Ansible. This is news to me. If you're heavy Ansible user, and that's well known in the industry, let me know. But okay, DigitalOcean is saying it. I believe them. So it looks like they want us to install a package. So we learned how to install packages last time. This one should be pretty simple. Then we need to install the required LAMP packages and PHP extensions. This is the one that's interesting. I think this is the one that teaches us some good concepts that we haven't learned yet. about Ansible. This is going to allow us to learn a little bit about loops. I'm assuming they're using loops for this. I think I saw that they were using loops, but I don't remember. Create and enable a new Apache virtual host for the WordPress site. So some of you are reading this and you're very familiar with WordPress and are like, hey, I know what all these things are, but when we're talking about web servers, we haven't talked about virtual hosts yet. We haven't talked about how you can host multiple websites and why you can't just host multiple websites by default. So we'll talk about some of that as well. Apache rewrite. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Disable the Apache website, set the password for MySQL's root user. So all of these things these are the steps that you would need to do to install to install WordPress on your own. And we're going to use Ansible to be able to do this. Okay. Download and unpack WordPress. This is cool. I like this a lot. So we are going to use this as a guide. I don't think we're going to go line by line at all to do this. So ours is going to probably differ a little bit from theirs. But yeah, let's see how okay, it looks like they're going to give you some files. I don't want to download their files. And so it looks like they broke it up. Their file structure is files, variables, and a main. Okay, I like this. Let's set this up and let's talk about what's happening here. What's up, Celtic? Good to see you. What's up, Andre? It's good to see you as well. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. Good to see you. So what happened? Let's set up the same directory structure and we'll talk about why we're setting up this directory structure. So I'm in the Ansible directory. They made a directory called files and they made a directory called Vars. Should be fairly straightforward what those might be. The Vars file is going to be where we can store variables for the system. We want to make this as configurable as possible. We don't want to have to hard code everything that we need to deploy, everything that we want to configure. We need things to be dynamic. Variables help us do that. We can actually store our variables in a separate place. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to, it looks like they're using a Vars directory, a variables directory, to be able to handle and to save their variables, and a files directory. That files directory is so that you can take files and you can utilize those files in your configuration. So maybe you want to put a specific text file that has information, maybe it has login information, or maybe it has some credential information or something, and you want to stick that onto a server, or it needs to go on every single server. Maybe it's a license for something. You can take files from a directory and either use them as templates or copy them, basically make copies of them onto systems using Ansible. So files is going to hold any files that we need to use during our deployment process. Then they have let's see, we'll touch, they have a README. Okay, that's cool. We can make our own readme.md. The markdown file it's going to tell us what's going on. Then they have a singular playbook.yaml right here. YML. I'm also going to make the other files that they have here. They have an Apache config.j2 and a WP config. We'll talk about what those are. I'm going to make them. I'll make them when we get there. Let's just talk about the basic structure here. And this is how they have it. You do not have to structure it this way, but I do think this is a good way of doing these things. Are we not going to clone the repo? Yeah, we're not going to clone the repo. I don't want to clone the repo just because I want to get a little bit of I want to pass along a little bit of the muscle memory of typing it out is super helpful. It'll help you remember some of these things. Again, the goal is not to learn the syntax and everything of Ansible, but we're just gonna go piece by piece. We're probably gonna copy off of what we're likely gonna copy a lot of it off of what they have. You can, if you don't feel like typing it all out and you think you can understand the concepts and you don't feel like typing right now because you had a long day, understandable, you can clone that repository. It'll end up having just about everything that we have, but I'm just going to, I'm gonna have it all out. Is there a way to show the file structure as a tree? Yeah, there's a tree command. You might not have it by default. You might have to install it, apt install a tree. I don't know, there's probably another way to do it, but I don't know of another way. Tree is a popular tool to be able to do it, and it will show you if I had any, if I touch files, test, well, that's not how you spell test at all. And you do tree here, it will show it to you. It'll show you into a tree structure like this. 2 directories, 3 files. It's a pretty cool command. Just be careful of where you run it. Make sure there's not too much stuff. All right. So good. They break. I like this. They break it down. For those simplest, we'll talk about those when we get there. And they have a Vars file here. So let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and set up the variables file as they have it. I think it's interesting that they did this first. Doesn't hurt at all for us to do it first, so let's do that. So first, we're gonna create a file in the Vars directory called default.yaml. So this is a YAML file. In Vars default.yaml. All right, and let's take a look at what they have over here. This looks very similar to what we had when we were doing Terraform and we were using those TF Vars files, okay? It's basically, it's still a YAML file, so YAML superset of JSON. That means it's keys and values. It's key value store. It's setting up objects that are just keys and values, just a bunch of data. So that's all you have here. You set up these variables. It looks like you set up a variable name, and then you can provide it a value over here. So name, value, name of the variable, value. You can also do some collections. This looks like a complete collection of things right here, denoted in those brackets there. So we can copy this and we can do this. I like how they also break it up and they have these comments in here that let us know what each subset of variables goes to. This will be good in case we want to add any of our own variables. Absolutely. What's up, Super Jutsu? Welcome. Yeah, man. You know, we're always on here having a good time doing some code and messing with some infrastructure, messing with some cloud stuff all the time. So we'll do system settings here. Also, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming through. Thank you for the love. All right, system settings, and we're gonna go ahead and put that in here. So PHP modules. Let's talk about what these are. Now, when you're installing WordPress, we'll break it down a little bit. WordPress runs with PHP. PHP framework works a little bit differently than other runtimes that you're familiar with. For other runtimes like Python, like Go or something, you download that runtime and then you execute stuff with it. Yes, that is true. You can do that. But because we are interacting with a web server, we actually have to do a few other things. We'll have the runtime will be there, the executable will be there, but Apache actually needs to be configured to utilize this thing. So Apache is a web server. It responds to web requests. It understands how to receive information over the web. It processes that information and it returns a response. If the request needs to do some processing of a specific runtime, Apache for PHP needs to understand how to use it. It needs to understand what to execute and to make things happen. And on top of that, PHP has a bunch of modules and things that help the application do what it needs to do. So WordPress utilizes a number of these PHP modules, and it helps us do the things that WordPress needs to do. And so there's a bunch of different stuff in here. Curl, I think we know what curl is. And GD, I can't remember what GD is. MB string, I actually don't remember what MB string is either. But XML is a data type as well. SOAP for web service, a bunch of different stuff in here. So I'm not gonna type this. There's too many in here for me to type this. I'm just going to copy this line in particular and we'll paste this in. That's not it. We will paste, copy that. I pasted it that time, but more than I wanted to. There we go. So not super clear, but you know, I need to put this here and put this here, put a little space. There we go. So we have one variable, and that variable is a collection of things: PHP curl, PHP GD, PHP MB string, all these different PHP modules. We will get these things installed. What I won't do today I don't know anybody, if you were here yesterday, you saw me fight for a solid minute. You saw me fight with Vim because I had caps lock on and I thought my keyboard was breaking and having all kinds of trouble, but it was fine. I was just kind of stupid and I made some mistakes. So today I'm cognizant. I've learned from my mistakes. That's what you got to do. Yeah, definitely check out Girl with Box for sure. Seriously, check out Girl with Box. She's dope. All right, so MySQL settings. So what we're doing is setting up all of the things that we're going to need to define when the application starts, that the application is going to need to use to be able to make connections and things. So we got to use MySQL. MySQL is a database. It is a relational database. And so we got to set some things up. Our root password, we have to define a database. We have to actually create an actual database. Ansible can do this for you. It can install MySQL, it can set up databases, it can set up database users, all that other stuff. So we're gonna set this up now too. I'm gonna copy all of it and we will put in our own values. So one thing I've learned, and you all let me know if I'm wrong. I know there's some heavy Vim users out there. One thing that I've seemed to learn is that if you didn't do a block comment, if you didn't implement the block comment, right now I copied the block comment and put it in there. I can't undo the block comment. But wait, how do you do multi-line editing in Vim? You know, I gotta learn right here. Hold on. Vim, multi-line, multiple cursors, let's go with that. What's up, Greg Hold in 1992? Welcome to the channel, thank you for the follow. I don't want Vim multi-line editing. Yeah, let me see if that's a thing. Is this a thing I can just do? Using visual block mode. Okay, put the cursor on the second word. Control V to enter visual block mode, expanding your selection toward the bottom. Nope, that's not helping me. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. Actually, I can just do this. Completely fine. Okay, so we're gonna set up our root password. I'm actually going to let you see the root password here. I'm gonna simply set it up. Actually, I'm gonna leave it as exactly that. That's gonna be the root password. I don't care that you can see it. The reason why I don't care that you can see it is because I'm going to ensure that this is only accessible locally. It's gonna be a local password and not a, it won't be available over the network. The MySQL database user, I'm gonna call this WP_user. Never mind. That's the database. I'm gonna call this WPDB. I'll call the MySQL user WP user, and I will make the MySQL password WP password. Okay, so this is, it's gonna just simply use these strings to be able to set these values. That's great. We're still in the boring part of Ansible. But yeah, BSEC, Ansible for automation 2. Are you asking what we're automating with Ansible? Ansible, I'm working on additions to Ansible's GitHub bot. Yes, that is Ansiception for sure. Definitely. Oh, dev hints. Yeah, so we are automating the installation of WordPress, but the complete installation of WordPress and not just a superficial implementation of their 5-minute install. We're doing all the pieces, and we're following a guide so that we can talk through it so that we don't miss any parts, because there are a fair amount of parts to doing it individually. Cool, I'll save that dev hints for sure. And then the last set of variables that they want us to use is your HTTP settings. So this is the web server settings. All right. No, stop doing that. And here's your web server settings. We're gonna change these settings, but this is we're gonna have to learn a little bit more about Apache as we go through tonight for this. We'll leave it as your domain right now. We'll need to change this though in a little bit. So real quick, Apache and virtual host. Imagine this. You all remember that a server or a service only one service can consume a port on a machine at a time. All right. So when Apache starts to be able to serve data, it takes up port 80, and it is no other service, no other process is able to begin that also consumes port 80. And you might say, okay, I understand that. Cool. Now, how in the world do you host multiple websites? If when I started up, you saw that when we start up the web server and we hit the IP address, we kind of set up in the configuration file what directory to go to. It goes there and it serves whatever's there. If we want to run multiple services, if we want to run multiple websites, you know, it would be pretty trash if a big server could only run one website at a time. And the way that you do this, so port forwarding actually, if you're using containers, you could do some fancy stuff with ports, but then people have to know what port to go to get to your website. The way that you do this in web servers is through something called virtual host. This is both a paradigm of Apache and Nginx. These virtual configurations for new things and for new websites, and the process itself will take over for this. The tool itself has the underlying functionality for this, and we're basically going to be setting up these virtual configurations that Apache knows how to use and to route properly when a certain request comes in. So when a request comes in and it has specific information in that request, it knows what to do with it, and it knows how to, you know, be able to serve multiple websites on a single IP off of a single port off of one running instance. It's pretty interesting, and so we're gonna have to implement some virtual host here. That is what these settings are for. They're for a virtual host. With Nginx, you can put it all in the CFG per the DNS name. Yeah, same thing. It's very it's surprisingly similar, but yeah. Okay, so this is all of the things that we're gonna need for now. We'll change the ones that we need to change later when we need to change them. So let's keep going in the guide and kind of understand what else needs to happen. They tell us what each of these things is if you want to read through it. Now is where it looks like we want to set up and run the playbook, but we need to do something first. It's interesting because they haven't said this yet, but we didn't set up, our Ansible has no idea where to access, it has no idea where to access, what servers it can manage or what to access. And let's just go ahead and set that up. We only have one server, and the way that you do that, remember, is your etc Ansible host. You can actually set up a host file, I think, in the same file that we're in now. But I'm gonna modify etc Ansible. Actually, I'm thinking of sudo vim it, sudo vim / etc. Actually, I'll put one right here. For anyone whoever puts it here, do I need to make it fancy? Can I just do if I just touch Ansible host, will that just be fine? Ansible. Actually, hold on. If I just do a vim hosts, will it pick this up? I think it'll pick this up, right? If we can, should we use it? Yeah. So this is the inventory file. A dedicated inventory file for this. I can just stick it in here, right? Definitely let me know if I'm wrong on this. I don't know. I don't write enough Ansible to know if I can stick it right here. Instead of modifying the main one, I was gonna modify the main one, but I figured we should just put one in here. And do I need anything fancy in it if I do put one here? And, you know, if you're unsure, I'll just Google. Like, this is all you got to do. This is what I would do on the job. I say Ansible local inventory or something like that. How to build your inventory. SE Ansible host, this is the default one. You can specify a different inventory file using the -I, multiple inventory files at a time, or pull in source. Okay. I look forward to coming back. Perhaps knowing it, it's Celtic and not Celtic. Okay, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I got lucky there. For sure. Just kind of set it off the fly, and I told you guys, if you commit, you might be right, you know, and then you sound fancy, but 100%. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming through. I'm glad you found us as well. Run the playbook. Okay, I just got to add a little -I. Okay, You can put it in Ansible.cfg too. Can the, like, not the main Ansible CFG, but like you saying I can create an Ansible CFG here? I think it's the, oh, the path to the inventory file. That makes sense. Okay, I'll make one right here. Now, do I have to do anything fancy? Like, can I just put in like web server right here, web servers, and simply just put in the host of what we have, the IP address? Linode. Cool, nice. This is nice. What's up, Goku? Good to see you. All right, cool. So this is now an inventory file here. The inventory file, again, because Ansible is agentless, it doesn't know, because there's no agents running that are configured to check in with a system or something. Ansible has no idea what servers it should be managing unless you tell it what to manage. This is a very important concept. If anyone ever asks you, if you're in an interview and I don't know how, and they ever ask you if you have an opinion on configuration management tools, you know, hey, you know, do you like Ansible? Do you like another one? Again, you don't have to commit to liking one over the other, but one thing you can say again is that, hey, I like Ansible because it doesn't have any agents, it's agentless, and I don't have to worry about a process running on each system. That introduces some caveats. It is important to know, but we need to be able to tell Ansible what to manage, and this is how you do it. This is our inventory. Oh no, ew. Okay, I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it at all. It made me uncomfortable. So we'll save that. It looks like we'll have to specify it, or I can put it in my Ansible.cfg. That's helpful, and we can do some stuff. So next, they tell us to go ahead and execute the playbook. We don't have a playbook yet. We can't execute it yet because we haven't made a playbook. We're going to create it. They tell us what to create. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go through and try it. Now I'm gonna take what they have. And let's talk about it. Let's see. They have a bunch of stuff in here. Here's their playbook, and let's go through and let's start setting up our playbook and break it down. Remember, the first thing that needs to happen is the setup up top. I'm not gonna copy this. We're gonna type it. We're gonna talk about what's here. So, a mosquito. Is there a mosquito? No, I don't know what's happening. I don't like when people shout no. I don't like it. It makes me think the stream is breaking, but looks good on my end. So we're gonna modify this, and we're gonna set all of this up. 3 lines at the top, letting it kind of know that this is its own separate little thing here. And then what do we have? The name of this playbook. We can give it a name. Remember that YAML is just keys and values. Don't need to be scared of it, even though you watched me make all kinds of indentation and white space mistakes. That is a problem. It's kind of like Python. Be careful with it. You know, we just do it like this so that we can make it good. And actually, you know what? Just to avoid that, because you guys know the Vim, again, Vim's been giving me problems. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna VS Code it. I know, I can hear you sighing right now. We're gonna VS Code it, okay? It's okay, it's all right. We've been having some good luck with VS Code. We'll just VS Code it, and it'll be fine. Open folder. Ansible project is what we want. Back. I messed that up. I messed that password up. SimCity, the way that you can do it. Hold on. I have a link for you. Type. What happens if you type in exclamation point VS Code? Actually, what happens if you type in exclamation point Linode? Yeah, click that. There we go. If you want to know how you can run VS Code as an SSH instance on an SSH, if you want to learn how to use VS Code by creating an SSH tunnel into a server, this guide I created this Notion guide that'll tell you exactly how to do it. You don't have to use the Linode server for it, but it just gives you that example up top, but it tells you how to use, it tells you exactly how to set it up step by step. I forgot we had that, and there you go if you need it and you ever want to do exactly what we're doing right now. But there I can use my playbook YAML. Oh, whoops. And there we go. And let me actually let's actually install. Let me install Ansible here. Let's see if it gives us any fancy stuff. This way you modify the files directly on the server. Correct. You are SSH'd in. This is essentially just us using VS Code instead of Vim. We are modifying the servers, the files on the server directly. So yeah. How do you change the language of a file? YAML. I think I can do something like this. There we go. I have no idea Whomping Willow. Maybe it was. Again, y'all know I don't use oh, it's no longer maintained. Please uninstall the extension. Okay, there we go. Thank you for letting me know. I will now uninstall it because we don't need that anymore. It's just YAML anyway, so not a big deal. I was just hoping maybe it gave us some snippets or something, but no big deal. All right, so we will do name. And the name for this playbook is going to be, name of this playbook is going to be WordPress, lamp stack, lamp, WordPress install. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Colorize, why's colorize off? Plain text, oh, because it's on plain text instead of YAML. There we go. Cool. All right, so name, no. After name, what else do we need? We need some other options to get this running. Another thing that you must have in this is a host. Or is it host? I don't know if it's host or host. We have to tell it what host we want to mess with. And I'm going to put in web servers because that is what I called this grouping of servers, even though there's only one there. And then the last thing they had here, they had what, var files or var directory, var files. So this is just going to tell Ansible or tell this playbook where to go grab its variables from. Very simple. Tells it the exact file. So I want you to start thinking in your head right now how you might break up how your variables are. Maybe we have different playbooks. Maybe we have one playbook that is handling, instead of writing one big one, maybe we have a playbook that's handling all the MySQL stuff. And maybe we want to put all of our MySQL variables in a file called, in the Vars file called mysql.yaml. This is how we could separate which files are utilized during the running of the playbook. Pretty simple. We set up var files here and we can specify which files it is. You can also, this is a list here that you can put in here. So it's actually, you can put more items than just one, and we can take this and do exactly that. So we'll take var files, and we'll simply throw in here, what was it? var slash default.yaml. I don't know if that was a string or not. I feel like it should be a string, but it's not, and it's vars instead. Cool. So this is the basic setup for the top of our file. Kind of gets us ready to go. It gives it a name, tells it which things in the inventory to manage, and it tells us where to grab the variables. And now we can start to put in our resources or our items or tasks or whatever you want to put in there. You can put all that stuff in there. Can I show the host file again? Yes, I can. My host file simply looks like this. Your IP address will be different. That will not, yeah, your IP address will look different. And actually, this is going to fail as well. I actually need to modify this in a second, but that's it. Quokka.js, I don't know. I have no idea what that is. And I clicked on it and it didn't work. I feel like I'm being rickrolled a little bit, but I don't even know what that is. So I don't know. What CPU do you recommend about to build a PC for software development? Ooh, CBear. If your goal is simply for if your goal is simply to do some software development and you're building a PC for it, I really do think the best bang for your buck is, question, what are you gonna be doing anything else with it? If you're just gonna be doing software with it and you're gonna be doing games and you want the best bang for your buck, you gotta get the Ryzen 5, was it the 36, the 58, the 5600X? That is by far the best bang for your buck for FPS, and it'll handle everything that you need for software. Software development is relatively, for the most part, it's relatively chill. I think that the sweet spot, I think that's the sweet spot, to be honest, price wise, and they're available. I think that's the other thing. They're available. Those are available, and the Ryzen 7 5800X are available. Right? Yeah, the 5800X though, price to performance, I don't think it's quite as good. It's obviously a better CPU, but price to performance, not quite. It also runs hot. But yes, 3600X. Oh yeah. First off, let me take them back. I gave you the newer processors. The reason why I said the 5600X instead of the 3600X specifically has to do with gaming. For software development, the 3600X is perfect. The 3600X is also perfect for it's also really good for gaming, but the strides from the 3 series to the 5 series in gaming in particular are pretty substantial. If you can get your hands on one, I would go for the 5600X if you can find it. The 3600X will do, it'll do the job for sure. But it's more than capable. It will be great for everything that you need. Misspelled web servers in playbook. Yes, I did. Web servers, okay, but in the playbook, I typed in web servers. Makes sense. Makes 100% sense. Yeah, 3600, and he loves it. I just know I had a 3950X and I loved it. And then I got a 5900 for content creation, for coding, for all the other stuff, doesn't matter. For gaming, my frames went through the roof by going from 3000 series to 5000 series. But I guess it also depends on your graphics card and stuff as well. But yeah, if you're running multiple VMs, that's a good question. Go for cores. And what I would do, because the prices have gone down, if you are gonna be running VMs and stuff and you can make use of more cores, I would grab like a Ryzen 7 5700X or 5800X. I mean, not 58, 3800X, 3700X, 3800X, because you can get more cores there, and they're pretty cheap right now. But yeah. Right now, there's no reason to buy Intel, to be 100% honest. But her 5000 series, we're dead on arrival. Mine's been fine. I haven't had any issues with it, to be honest. So I'm hoping they fix the problem. If anyone had it, I've had a few of the 5000 series, and no issues over here. But yeah, 3800X I think is you can get them for cheap right now. You can get them. You can walk into a store and pick one up. You can order one it won't be marked up. So I have in this computer, I have a Gigabyte Aorus Master, X570 Master Gigabyte Aorus. It's I paid way too much for this. This whole build, I spent way too much for. Way too much. Vars File missing an S on Vars. Oh, it's supposed to be Vars File as well. Okay. Let's see. Yep, Vars Files. Okay, cool. That's the name of the key. All right, cool. So let's keep going. Let's at least get our first item in here. Ryzen 7 3738. Yeah. Yes. I think you'll be more than happy. I guarantee you'll be more than happy with either one of those. Last you for a long time. All right, so now we can see the tasks. The tasks are gonna be the things that Ansible needs to do to ensure that the system is configured properly. All right, so the very first thing they have here is to install prerequisites. Take a look at it. Remember, the very first thing they set up here at the very top in the instructions is that Ansible apparently prefers to use Aptitude. This is something that's valuable for you to remember as you get into a role that Ansible, for some reason, I don't know why, we could look it up, why it prefers the Aptitude package manager rather than the advanced package tool. And it's, sounds great. So it looks like it's gonna have us install that first. but let's take a look at it because I think they have some stuff in here that we haven't seen yet when we're dealing with Ansible. And so they have, the name of it is to install some prerequisites. They have this apt here using the apt tool, and it's setting up name. We can actually make this more comfortable for us. But we can go look up the apt tool to see what these things mean, but we'll give it a name. Saying update cache, yeah, we need to run an update here. We're gonna grab the latest and force apt get, yes, use apt get to grab these things. So let's take this real quick. Let's type it. Let's type it so we can see what each of these things feels like. So we're gonna go over here. Task is under all of these. And we're gonna go under and we're gonna go name. And I'm just gonna say install Aptitude here because that's what we're doing. And then we're gonna use apt to get this installed. So we can actually break this down. We can actually do it in the format that we're used to. The way that we've seen this last time when we were writing it, we were doing name, sorry, apt. Instead of doing it one line like that, we could do name equal to Aptitude. And I think it might need to go into quotes, but then we could do name Aptitude and we could do update cache. Yes. We could do state latest, and we could do force. And I'll show you where to go look to find out what these different parameters mean, because the parameters are going to be pretty important. You can look these things up the same way that we look things up for Terraform. And let's go actually look at that right now so that we can see what those things look like. All right, so update cache. What's wrong with these? I might have I don't want, why is it giving me this? Can I explicit? Okay, whoa, hold on. Okay, I thought I X'd out of it. We did not. Cool. So actually now it looks fine, which is super weird. But cool. So this is going to install the apt package manager. I actually need to fix one thing in a second. But let's go look at what like where we can go to look up these things. And do Ansible docs. Ansible documentation. I don't like Ansible's documentation, if I'm going to be honest with you. I find it difficult to find what I need, to be 100% honest. But yeah. So let's do Ansible. Whoops. Ansible, and we'll do Ansible. What are we doing right now? Apt. Excuse me. Okay. So when you're in here, when you find the different module, so we're going to be using the apt module to get what we need to get installed. And the same thing that we saw with Terraform, you can, technical documentation can be difficult to parse through. Again, I will say that very, very often because it can be discouraging if I should send you to this page and you don't know what's going on. But what you can see are the different options that you have. So we have things like name and we have things like state, but none of these are required. Okay. None of them are required, but they do help. And it shows you some examples down here. The example they have is a one-liner. They did it in line rather than doing it in the way that we've done it, utilizing, the YAML pieces. But yeah, you said this Ansible 2.3, go for latest. Okay. For previous versions, is this not the latest? I actually have no idea what the latest is. Oh, you are pleased to maintain Versi Ansible latest documentation. Okay. My problem is, where do they, in the Ansible latest documentation, let me just search for apt here. Yeah, okay, here we go. I think this is better. Latest over here. Okay. So we got the options here. We have, it gives us, this is good, it gives us a little bit more information. It also tells us what data type things are. This is great. Boolean, yes or no. All right, it tells us those things are a string. Nice, I like this a lot. This is better. Cool. All right, gives us our options here. This is good. This is definitely good. So we're gonna grab apt right now. And we can start with this. What else is there? Maybe let's put in a couple different things. Since there's so much that goes into this. Yeah, let's get all the basics out of the way. If you were to Google right now, you could Google how to install a LAMP stack, and basically it would give you all of the prerequisites that you need. These are all packages that you need for LAMP. We already have Linux, but we need to install Apache. So Apache 2, MySQL Server, MySQL Server, Python. What? Oh, so this is interesting. This Python 3 py MySQL thing is actually not for a LAMP stack, I don't think. I believe this is for Ansible to be able to interact with MySQL. Pretty sure. PHP MySQL, they got a bunch of different stuff in here. But let's look, I like this. Let's copy and paste it. Let's look at what this is, because this has a new paradigm, which we have not seen yet. Let's go down here. And let me set paste here. Oh, actually, I'm not supposed to be in here. We're doing, this is exactly why we're doing this in VS Code. I forgot we were over here in VS Code doing this. Okay, so it's going to install a bunch of these, but look at this loop paradigm. Look at it. This is fancy. And actually, let me split this up to make it look a little bit better again, so that, not a little bit better, but look the way that you know how to make it look. Okay. Actually, I have to put this in quotes, I think, and the rest can go like this. I like to keep some consistency. I think this is fine. I'm fine with that format, but I want to keep it consistent with redo. With how everything else is going to be set up right now. Okay. Check out this loop scenario. We haven't seen this yet. This is going to allow us to install multiple packages all at once, and this is super helpful. Okay, instead of the name, we actually need to outdent all of this stuff, I think. And let's grab, there we go. So normally, if we want to install one thing, we just put the name in there. But take a look at this. We can use this paradigm of the double brackets. This is going to allow us to do some interpolation. It's going to allow us to replace values. Okay, so this is a placeholder in the middle for items, and then you can use this loop keyword right here and pass in a collection. If you pass in a collection with a loop keyword, it will loop through each of those things. Each of those items is a thing. It will loop through them all, and it will run this block of code for each item that is in here. So it should get them all set up, and then it's just tagging it with system. You don't need to worry about that right now, but that's really nice. It allows us to install all the packages that we want. This is a great paradigm because there's going to be many times where you need to install lots of different things, and this is much better than having one of these blocks for every single one of these items. Both of those work. They both work. This is a much better way of doing it. We saw how we could do some loops in Terraform. Again, when you want to get a little more dynamic, we can go ahead and we can use loops. We haven't used any variables yet. Even though we called a var file, we haven't used any of these variables, but yeah, we have this here. And let me paste in the last bit of things. This whole section right here is it's getting the packages that we need set up. It's installing the things, but it's not necessarily configuring. It's not configuring anything yet. Okay. Let's see. What's the difference between 32 and 64 gigs of RAM for a build? Simply, I mean, the difference is double the RAM. You probably don't need either one, to be honest. But 32 is a pretty safe. 32 is a pretty safe number for just about everybody. Most people are fine with 16. 32 is a good space. I have 64 in here. Again, if you're running a bunch of VMs and stuff, it might help. It allows your computer to be able to store more information, to be able to pass to the CPU for processing. You know, I don't know what you're doing. I don't think you need 64, but you know, when coding, 32 should be more than enough. 16 is ample as well. I doubt you need more than that. VMs, IDEs, MySQL Server running. You know, I think 32 will keep you nice and comfortable. I think 32 is going to be more than comfortable. And the good thing is that if you're building a computer, you can always upgrade if you should need more. So I would say if you're going to do it, go with what I did is I didn't know how many I wanted. So I did go 32 to start, but I went 32 with two 16 gig sticks, DIMMs, so that I could upgrade to 64 later if I wanted to. I ultimately did upgrade to 64, but I've been able to use it like twice, but we'll see. I've never been able to like really max out my computer yet, because I right now you're looking, like I said, you're not looking at my fancy computer. You're looking at a Surface Pro. All right, you're looking at Surface Pro right now, and it's good enough for everything that we need to do. All right, so it's going to install all these LAMP packages here, and then the last thing is it's going to get all of the PHP extensions set up. Again, these PHP extensions are other little tools that need to be set up on the system for this to work. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to loop through PHP modules instead. So take a look at this. This is now we're utilizing our first bit of variables here. Look at this. It's looping through PHP modules. Here we're looping through a collection. Here we're looping through PHP modules. If we go and look in our variables file, remember we set up PHP modules. So if we wanted to, we could move all of those other files, all those other packages that we're installing, we could move them here and call them in the same way if we wanted to. I'm really not sure why they did this, but yeah. I'm not sure I understand how the PHP modules loop works in the PHP extension. Yeah, see, I don't like that they, you know, this is why I said I like consistency. I kind of want to make this look like this as well, but it's simply that this is a variable. They're using a variable called PHP modules to pass into the loop itself. And that, you know, that's getting passed in right here. And then each of those items that's coming out of that variables file is getting stuck into here. I got to make it consistent. I have to. All right, and all of these need to be over. Okay, there we go. That's better. Makes this now perfect. Glad you got it. So I'm going to set this up. Oh yeah, actually they're all problematic. Whoops. UV. There we go. And name, yeah. Okay. This should be the same thing here. I think we got it. Yes, it's like true. Yes. Yep. It's a Boolean. Again, when you look at the documentation, it'll tell you yes or no. It'll tell you your choices are yes or no, even though it gives a Boolean value. Their Boolean is yes and no instead of true and false here. What's up, Signing Matt? Good to see you. Oh no, your power went out. That sucks. That power outages are pretty trash, to be honest. Nothing has taught me that more than the pandemic, to be honest. But I think you're good. I don't think you missed that much. We basically just copy and paste it again. I'll share this with you. You can grab this and find out a lot of stuff. that we're doing. We're just talking through what it is that's happening. So now you can, like I said, you can see that this looping method is here. Let me give you all a little hint as well. When you find things like this, I like to go to explain tutorials like this, because once you understand a tutorial like this has a lot of information in it, and you can keep this, keep some links, keep a grouping of links and stuff that you can always reference if you need to see an example of how to loop through some packages, or you need to have an example of how to implement variables or something. When you are writing Ansible, once you understand what's happening, it's easy to go look at this and to be able to pull it out and apply it to what you're trying to do. You don't need to memorize all the different things. Don't think you need the quotations, where I think you do for, I think if I remove it from here, the way that this is set up, the way that, like, not inlining it, I actually think this is going to cause problems. But I'll see. I will see. I'll save this. I need to do one other thing. I need to modify my host file with the password. So Ansible inventory password. I always have to look this up every single time. Servers per child. We're not using SSH. Ansible user, and what I call it, just Ansible password. Ansible does not expose channel to allow. Ansible password. I think I can set a default Ansible password, I guess. Do I prefer Ansible or Terraform? I mean, that's an interesting question. So I prefer Terraform as a tool, but they're not competing. They're not products that compete with each other. They do two different things. But I prefer Terraform just because I've made my feelings known. I generally stay away from runtime configuration if I can avoid it. I don't like configuring running servers. I don't like runtime configuration of servers. It allows you to, it opens up the door to too many points of failure, I think. But it does speed up. It can speed up your time to deploy things. It can speed up your time to fix problems, your mean time to fix, all the other stuff. It can speed things up, but I generally don't like to do things at runtime. I never remember how to do this. Let's see. Ansible SSH pass right here. Add this to your inventory. Wow. Immutable infrastructure. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I definitely mean immutable infrastructure. Yeah, I don't like to change. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to define it. If I'm going to do it with code, if it's big enough to where I'm going to, codify it and I want to keep it around, I'm going to define it via code, and I'm not going to make changes to it. I'm only gonna, if I gotta make a change, destroy it and create a new one, personally. But Ansible is great. A lot of places, there's just, you can't always do immutable infrastructure. It's not always a feasible thing to do. It doesn't always make sense either. So configuration management is important to know. But even if I was managing systems, I probably would still have most things that I needed in a golden image, and I would probably only use Ansible to do ad hoc things. But everyone has their own feelings for that. What's up, Half a Momo? How you doing? Welcome. It's good to have you here. First timer, welcome. We're just doing a little bit of Ansible. So I can put Ansible SSH pass in here. All vars. Okay. I'm going to take this before Ansible 2.0, Ansible SSH user. Let's stick this in here, and I will get off of this file so that you can't see it once I'm done with it. SSH, the user is going to be root for now. And I didn't remember what I put as the password. I won't show you all what I'll have to do an export. So I'm going to get off of the screen really quick. I'm going to see what the password is. And the way that I can do that is because we set it up via Terraform. Echo tf underscore var underscore linode password. Not echo $. All right, got it. Let's clear this so you guys can't see this. Let's put it here, and I just have to remember not to open up my host file again. I'll do my best to you know, make sure that happens. Let's try to do this. All right. Okay, now that we have this, let's go ahead and let's try to run this thing. All right, let me do this. First thing we can do is Ansible playbook. Let's make sure it works. Let's make sure it's valid. I mean, Ansible playbook. And what's the name of this playbook? Oh, whoops, I need to be in the Ansible folder. Well, I don't need to be, but Ansible-playbook. Playbook.yaml. And the way that we can check the syntax is, what is it, syntax check? Or it's check syntax. I never remember which one it is. All right, so we got some problems here. We have some issues with the syntax of what we have here. I don't know anything about DevOps. It's all good. It's all good. It's not big. It's not a big deal. You know, that's what we're here to learn. We're just diving into some of these different concepts. So it's letting us know the offending line 25, column 16, pretty easily. And I think this is specifically for the quotation marks because of the way that we changed it. We could be wrong, but this one looks like it might be an issue. Yep. Should be written with quotes. Because of the way that we moved it, that is what we need to do. What did you put in your host file under web servers? I put the IP address of my Linode server. So you take the IP address of your Linode server or whatever server you're deploying to, whether it be an AWS or whatever, and I put this here. And then the thing that I just pasted in, if you need it, I'll paste in this. This will tell you what to put underneath so that it can authenticate. I'm assuming this works, but I'm not gonna click on my file because I don't want to show it to you. I don't want to change that password at all. What for a password? I'm not gonna tell you the password. I'm not gonna, because then you don't know how to get into my system. It's not a password that I use, but like, I don't care if you know the password, but I care if you know the password before we finish it. It's not pass 123 because it wouldn't let me do pass 123. And again, I told y'all the most secure password is not pass 123. It is, I like pass instead of password, but password 12 is the most secure password because everyone's gonna try password 1. Everyone's gonna try password 123 to break it. No one's gonna try password 12. You game the system, and password 12 with the A capitalized and not the P. You're welcome. Or any other letter for that matter, capitalize any other one. No computer could ever figure it out. No person could ever figure it out. It's just too secure, always a step ahead of the game. Big brain plays is what we do over here. So let's go ahead and let's put this on line 25. Let's put this in quotes. And we've never logged into the system before, okay? Ever. Never, ever logged into it. And now we're gonna run it. Oh, whoops. We're gonna make sure the syntax is correct. Okay, we're good there. We're syntactically correct. And then if we wanna apply it, let's just, we could dry run it, but no need to dry run it right now. Let's go ahead and look what's happening here during this Ansible run. Ansible's gonna go through. Ansible's gonna read the configuration that we have. Ansible is gonna take the facts, it's gathering the facts. The facts tell the system, what it looks like right now. Oh, interesting. Okay, this failed. I'll tell you why this failed in a second. But Ansible's gonna gather the facts, which is gonna be the state of the machines. It's gonna say, hey, what's running, what things are set up there, give me information, what's the operating system, all the other stuff. And then it's going to figure out what it needs to do to ensure that our settings are now taking place. What things does it need to start? What things does it need to stop? What things does it need to add, delete, all the other stuff. And host file is correct because I did not give it a host file. And yeah, here we go. I get a pass on -I and host. It used our default host file, which we set up some stuff here last time we were doing this. And so we're gonna do the -I, which is for host. I think that's what it said. Perfect. Look at this. It's installing the task, install Aptitude. It's gonna get that set up on this server. Green is good, red is bad. You know, it's just how it works. And we'll give it some time and it will hopefully install everything that we need. This is taking much longer than I expected it to take, to be honest. Benihana, we are utilizing, I just had a project command, but we are utilizing Ansible to be able to codify the configuration of WordPress on a server. So yeah, we're installing WordPress, but we're installing WordPress and all the things that it needs via code using a tool called Ansible. This is taking a mighty long. Yes, I definitely can. So WordPress is a platform for people to be able to host websites, blogs, whatever. It runs to make that tool run. It requires a bunch of different tools. It runs on a LAMP stack. It needs Apache, which is a web server. It needs PHP, MySQL. It needs a bunch of different tools. We are usually you'd have to create a server. You'd have to log into it. You have to install all these tools. You'd have to put some files in place. You'd have to set up the database, and you'd have to get it all configured to make it run. You do it manually. You no longer have to do those things manually. You can define in a file. So we have a file here that we're writing. We can define in a file that, hey, we want on this system, we want these packages to be here. We want all of these packages to be on the system. We want them to be running. We want to put these files on the system. It allows you to codify, to write code to say what you desire the system to look like and to be like. And yeah, so that we never have to install things manually ourselves. And it makes it so it's reusable. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Of course, unreachable with AWS. Yeah, Aya. The reason is because you are going to have to do something different than we did. You're going to have to define where your SSH key is. That's the problem. That's another reason why we didn't do AWS tonight. You're going to need to change. You're going to need to define where your SSH key is. And let's see, Ansible SSH key. And I think you can do it in a very similar way to how we just did it. I think it's just a different key that goes in here. Yeah, here we go. This is all you got to put in there. SSH or Ansible SSH private key file, and then you give it the location of your key, and you put that in your host file. Ansible SSH private key file. Put that in your host file, and that will work. Super annoying. The very first time I ever dove into this, it was tough. I definitely forgot the A. So make sure you put the A in there for that one. All right, so this run is taking quite a long time, but this is good. Oh, it worked? Nope, that was fast. You're a fast copy paster. Can you show us your host file to see what we would change? I can't show you my host file because I'm using. Okay, I'll make another host file. I'll make an example host file. I like this. Okay, I can't show you my host file, but you know, I'm gonna make a example host. And our example host file is gonna look like this. And then your IP address of whatever your server is. Well, that's not a real IP address, obviously. And then we had the. I want to look at my history, but I also don't want to. All right, here is what the example. Here's what my host file looks like. Yours, if you're using AWS and you want to use an SSH key instead, what you would do is, instead of where I have, you could still leave this in here. It wouldn't cause any problems, I don't think. But what you would do is you would do this, and then you simply, actually I don't even think you need it under this all vars thing, but then you simply give it the location. What's happening? To your SSH, wherever your SSH key is. So maybe it's in, you know, home/abrooks/aws.pem. You give it the location of your PEM file, and it will utilize this for your stuff. And yes, we're importing PHP modules from the default.yaml. See this variable PHP modules. Whenever you see those double curly braces, usually, almost always, so it's a variable. That's going to be your variables, denoting your variables there. And so if we look at it here, it's a little bit different. We could take this. Let's actually do that. Let's take this and let's actually take, all right, hold on. Let me go back over here. Let me use my Vim foo a little bit. Let's do a V, end of line is $, right? Where's the $? I lost the $. And I'll exit that. So I'll remove this. All right. But in here, I'll put, whoa, I broke it. But in here, I will do this, and I'll type in, what are those things? I'll call it, I'll call it lamp packages. Okay, I'll put it in quotes. I'll make this so that they're the same, and put that here. Okay, and now I can save this, and over in the default YAML, I can say lamp packages. And I can paste these here. So now it's the same setup for both of them. Makes it a little bit more clean, I guess. And so I keep all the variables here. And over here, I'm doing the same thing in both of them. So it loops through the collection that's here. This is just a variable. That variable is an entire collection of things, and it loops through each of those as the name here. And so we save this, and if we go back to run it, nothing should change. And we'll talk about the run really quick, because again, the run, it's important to know what's happening during the run. No, oh, playbook YAML can't be found. Where are we? Oh, we are not in the right place at all. All right. So notice how it tells you what changed. So all these things changed, nothing was deleted. But if we do this here, we should get all okays, because we didn't make any changes to the system. We haven't added anything new. We haven't removed anything. We haven't done anything like that. We haven't done anything. So it's letting us know, hey, we're all okay here. We didn't need to make any changes to ensure that your system was up to date. Everything is right where it should be. So all green is helpful in that manner. And again, if you're still trying to figure out why Ansible is good, let's say we were doing this right now, we're only working with one server. All we got to do to deal with more servers is to provision more servers. The only thing we have to do is add more IP addresses. Right here, you just add more IP addresses under here. Okay, that's not an IP address, but you just add some IP addresses to them once you spin up the servers, and now you can manage multiple servers all at once. It'll take care of all of them at the same time. If someone should log into one of them and delete one of these tools, maybe they're trying to test something and they delete a program, they delete a package that's supposed to be there, Ansible will notice that during the next run, and they'll say, hey, this is missing. I'm going to go ahead and get it back together. It's going to prevent configuration drift. All right, so now we have all the things that we need installed on the server, set up on the server right now. We actually have MySQL, we have Apache, we have all the PHP things that we need. Now we're going to get to the configuration phase of these things. We're going to get them all configured and make them kind of work together. So we have the tools. Now look at the configuration. Now we're going to dive into some things that we haven't dove into yet. Creating a root document. So now we've been doing mainly just installing programs. Now it's going to talk about how do we create files? How can we put a file somewhere on the system? And take a look at this. And this is going to take on some of your Linux knowledge here. Create a document root. If you're unfamiliar with it, so I think it's important to dive into some of the different terminologies. Whenever you hear document root is the phrase used to describe the root file of a website, the file that is first hit or first read when a website is reached. Okay, so the document root is going to always be that first file. Usually it's an index file. Usually it's going to be usually it's going to be where that index file lies. Sorry, the document root is where the root of the site is going to live. All right, so if we have a folder that has an index.html, wherever that index.html is going to be, or that index.js, or wherever the entryway into the website is going to be, the document root is that directory in which that thing lives in. Okay, and so it's just all this is going to do is create a directory. So this right here is just creating a directory. It's not doing anything special. So I said file, sorry about that. This is actually creating a directory here. A directory is a type of file, to be honest, in Linux. Remember, I told you everything in Linux was basically a file or directory, but even directories are special kind of files. So let's take this, let's paste it in and just make sure we understand what's going on here. And let's go ahead and make sure that we also add in our notes here. That this is the Apache configuration, because understanding what's happening here is going to help you understand how to further configure Apache in the future if you ever need to do it. So we need to tell it where the document root is, and we need to create a file for this. So let's break down what we see. The path to the directory that we need to create is /var/www/ this variable. So right here, it's doing some string interpolation. It's taking a variable and it's sticking it in here. Okay, so HTTP post is the variable that we care about. So let's go look at our variables file and see what this is. So this is going to create a directory called @/var/www/your domain. It's going to create a folder called your domain. I don't like that. Well, it's supposed to be a placeholder for our domain. Let's make our domain, we'll just make it wordpress.com, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you call it. We'll call it wordpress.com. It's going to create that directory for us. Okay. The state is that it's a directory, and then it's going to set up some permissions. We learned about Linux permissions. www data. You probably never seen that before. This is the user that Apache is actually going to run as. That's going to give access to everything that WordPress needs. I know it's weird, but this is the user that it's going to run as. This user is going to get created by the installation, but the owner of this directory is going to be www data. And the group is going to be www data. And the mode is the permissions. We talked about the numerical permissions for a file, 0755. So 755, what does that mean? That means that the owner, which is www data, has read access, write access, and execute access. It means that the group, so 5 is, what is it? It's 4 and 1. So it has read and execute, but not write. And then the rest of the world has read and execute, but no write as well for this directory. That's fine. This is for WordPress, 755 is the standard for directory permissions. And I think that files are 644, might be helpful. And the zero is going to denote that this is not a special file, I believe. I can't remember what that's for. You actually don't have to put the 0. You could just do 755. I can't remember what that is. I think it is for sticky bits, which is going to allow you to specify it as a special file. And there's a bunch of different types of them. I think I don't know. I don't remember. I knew at one time. I don't really remember what it is now because I never need to mess with it anymore. And tags, Apache, the tags are just metadata. You can remove that if you want, but might be helpful for us in the future. So if we save this, I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna run it, and I'm actually gonna log into this system so that you can see that it was created, okay? Let's run it again. We've only added one thing to this, a very small thing to create a directory, but let's see it in action. What's up, Morecat? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Ooh, my eyes are about to start burning. It's not good. It's only not good in the fact that it just means I've been looking at the computer for too long. But when my eyes start burning, they burn a lot. I also need new glasses. My glasses are like, they're not, people are always like, oh, your glasses are dirty. I'm like, no, 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 no. I've had them for so long, they've like scratched off like film. So it's like super weird. And I also can't see well enough to see what you just said. What's up, Morecat? Good to see you. Thanks for coming on through. So the create document root function here, or task, did it. It changed. So now it created this directory for us. That's great. Now we can put things in the directory. I'm actually not going to log in. We can log in at the end and see that everything is there. I have not tried Blue Lens glasses. The reason why I haven't tried Blue Lens glasses is because I saw them on one of my coworkers used to wear them, and they enjoyed them for what they do. But on Zoom calls, because they reflect the blue light, your glasses glow when you're on Zoom calls and stuff. And we live in a world now where we're always on video calls, and that seems to be problematic. So, Rala Java, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. That's love right there. I appreciate you. Okay, so this is how you create a directory. Okay, that's how you create a directory inside of Ansible. It's good to see. You don't have to memorize it, but it's good to see. You know, it's not much different than anything else that we've done. Most of them are. It's just YAML, so you just have to find out what it is and structure it appropriately. Let's see what's next. Here is the virtual host section, and again, we'll dive into this a little bit more in a second. We'll talk about it a little bit deeper, but look at what we have here. It's saying that we're going to be using a template. All right, the module that we're kind of using here is a template, and it has a source, which is files Apache Conf2, Apache Conf.j2, and a destination. And then it's got something here called notify. Okay, it's got a notify here, which we have also not seen. So I'm going to paste this in. Let's break this piece down. I love it. So these are the types of things that make that I never thought of when I was first learning configuration management. Like you still have to think about the things that you have to do to manage a machine, and I really like this. So first things first, template. When they say template here, they are actually talking about a template. It's talking about taking a file. So we can take a file and we can put it directly on a machine. We can copy it to machines. But we can also, if we want to be more dynamic about things, we can utilize templates. And they use the Jinja 2 framework. They use Jinja for it. Jinja is popular. It's a popular templating engine. And so what it allows you to do is to create a J2 file, which is a Jinja file, a Jinja 2 file, and set up a structure of information, or however you want it, and you can set up variables and things in that file, and then during runtime, it can go ahead and it can use that template and plug in information along the way. So the source of the template is at files apache.conf.j2. We didn't save that file here, so we need to actually we actually need to go grab one really quick and not have this file here, the dumb one that we created. And so let's go ahead and grab it. Here it goes right here. And this is great. This is what a virtual host looks like. And this is exciting. Let's break this down after we put this in here. Files, new file. They're calling it Apache apache.conf.j2. So they're doing the main Apache conf, I think. And we'll simply paste this. And it's boring to look at. You know, it's not super beautiful, but you know, it is what it is. And these virtual hosts are they're blocks of code. Okay, they're blocks of configuration rather than, and they help you set some stuff up. So the virtual host says it uses a wildcard here, and it says it's wildcard on a port. So it's you've seen us go to a website at like, you know, google.com:3000. If we want to reach a site on a different port, you have to specify the port here. So it's basically saying, hey, this virtual host is for any request that comes in, any domain that comes into this server at port 80. I will respond with the information that is in here. All right, so all the requests that come into the system will allow us to respond to this. Now, these virtual hosts, we can create multiple ones by saying, hey, maybe for www.mastermind.io. And if this domain is requested, then give this information. And then we could create another virtual host that had a different domain, and it's still over port 80 and it's still listening. And if some data should come in through that, we respond a different way. And so that's what makes it pretty easy and pretty exciting to go through and to configure. But it's, you know, this is just a block of configuration that tells the web server how to respond when data is requested at this domain and this port. So any domain at port 80, is, you know, sets up some defaults, a server admin, server name, which is the HTTP host. And so this will be our domain name that we wanted to use, which would be in our default YAML. So HTTP host, which is there. It's got a server alias. And so this allows you to do wwws or other subdomains. But it's got a bunch of stuff. Document root, this tells it where to go. It tells it what files to serve when this domain is accessed. So document root is a directive that tells me, you know, this is the exact same thing that of the file that we set up. All right, and it gives us some other options. You don't gotta worry about it. I just wanted to show you how this is, but this is a template. Notice how it's using variables in here. And so at runtime, when this gets put on the server, it will no longer be a template. It will be a file that has all the information that it needs filled out already for us. So let's save this. And now if we do this is actually good. Well, that's good. This will set up our virtual host for us. Workrave did way more to improve my screen time than Blue Lens did. Yeah, than Blue Lens glasses did. Yeah, there's a lot of options for it. Could you create a reward to remember you to take water? Yeah, I probably could. I've only recently been looking into like the little rewards and stuff, because channel points and all that other stuff. Yeah, I could do that. I definitely could do that. Maybe you already answered this, but do you use more Apache or Nginx in the wild? What should you prefer? I use Nginx way more nowadays. I prefer Nginx pretty heavily. Apache is a good tool, but Nginx is built to suit. It's built to suit the way that we build applications. It's built to serve a more modern way of developing applications. So it works a little bit better for microservices and things like that. And those are the things that I usually deal with. Apache. So generally Apache works better for dynamic things. So things like WordPress, it's grabbing data from database, and you know, PHP is processing a bunch of stuff and it's dynamic, and it works better for that. Nginx is better for static requests back and forth. It's a lot faster for things like that. They both have their places, but they are kind of interchangeable. You could use them pretty interchangeably, but you might have to take into account some things. I see Nginx a lot more. I see Nginx a lot more. Apache still gigantic. Again, it's what you use with WordPress, and WordPress runs a big part of the internet. So yeah, it's a good question. I would learn Nginx though if I were you, to be honest. Yeah, I would use that. I figured that out, but I want to list the folders in directory structure. I want to list the folders in directory structure. I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean there. LIMP is taking over in production. Yeah, I mean LIMP. So we're talking about LAMP stack right now. LIMP is Linux, but Nginx, I know it's an E, and Nginx starts with an N, but you say Nginx like it's an engine. You know, it is what it is. But in VS Code, so I'm using my terminal here. Oh, if you want to see your directory structure, you got to click that little open folder thing. You got to open it up at a specific folder, I guess. I've already opened up a folder, but it should be a button here. Like if you click this, it should say like open folder, and go ahead and like select which folder you want to select. That's pretty weird. So are you actually SSH'd in? Like, did you do the like Control P and then do the little caret and type in SSH and actually connect? You should see it after you do that. What's up, Steve Griffin? I don't know how long you've been in here. I'm sorry if I missed you, but shout out Mr. CM Griffin. It's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Did I spell that right? I did spell that right. Perfect. You know, I don't usually spell it right, but I did good that time. Good to see you, man. Okay, so we're almost there. Let's the template. So you can create these templates. This is super helpful. Templating is very, very helpful when you're talking about runtime configuration of things. It can create these things dynamically, and it'll create an actual file based on the things that are in here, utilizing your variables. Super helpful. So that's going to create the virtual host for this. I would just deploy this right now, but we don't have any files there, so it's not going to serve anything. Let's see what else they have in here. Then they have a bunch of modules. I'm gonna take all of these. I'm gonna take all of it. I'm just gonna take all of it, and then we'll talk about these notifies, because these notifies are pretty important. Oh, Sully, are you back in, or do you have to go back? I'm sorry to hear that. Dang, man, let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Are you in there now? Let's see. So I pasted in the rest here. Don't sweat this piece. You don't need to know this much now, but there's some Apache modules that need to be enabled actually at the kernel level to make some cool things happen. And so the rewrite module and some other stuff. So it's actually just using shell commands. So shell is how you can submit just raw commands. So you could set up everything if you wanted to. You could set up raw shell commands to do it. You wouldn't get much value out of it though. It would work, but every time you ran it, it would run the command every single time, and you'd run into some weird issues. But take a look at this notify thing. This is great. I love that this is here. I mean, you need it. It's necessary. But what notify does is certain things that happen in services in Linux need to you can't always just install something. If you want to, let's say you change a configuration file on Linux. Usually, if you change a configuration file, you must then restart the service for it to load in that new configuration. Okay, the notify tells you, hey, it says, hey, if this thing runs, if this task gets executed, if it should have to run or if changes are made, go ahead and notify this other thing. Like it's a trigger. And what it's actually having you do, we don't actually have it in here yet, but there's probably a notify down at the bottom. Yeah, they have some handlers down here, and it's telling you to notify reload Apache or restart Apache. And these things are going to restart the Apache service or reload the Apache service. Those are two different things. Those are definitely two different things. But yeah, in the ER now, I had to call 911 to get transported by Ambo. Oh man, breaking down some boxes. Oh wow, been having a lot of bad. Man, well, I'm super sorry to hear that. If you, like I said, if you need it, one, as we're always going to do, we're going to put out all the good energy. We're going to send all the best energy your way. But seriously, let us know if there's anything you need from us. Let us know if there's anything that we can do for you. Dang, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear that. Really, really sorry to hear that. All right. So, yep. We're sending them your way. Always. We're always sending good vibes, but we're going to send them especially your way right now. Will do. You know where to find us. You definitely know where to find us if you need us. for more than that. Cool. So we have these handlers here, and we can go ahead and we'll set these up because we need them to do this piece. And again, when these are going to notify, and you'll see the notifies in here a lot. And again, it's when things change. Should, this need to be installed, we need to reload Apache. So we're gonna notify to reload Apache. If we set up a new site, if we set up, a new default Apache site, all this other stuff is gonna notify some stuff. So I actually disable this. Interesting. Okay. So I'm actually gonna paste all this in real quick. Actually, I think we already did paste it in. I'm actually gonna delete this one really quick because I think without this, I think we might have a functioning site, and I kind of want to see real quick. So I'm gonna have everything but this last block, and I'm gonna run it again. It's gonna run some stuff for us, and I think we might have a functioning site after this. This takes longer than I feel like it should take. I wonder if it has to do with, I don't know. It's not going slow, but it's just, I'm impatient. I'm an impatient guy. And I feel like it's taking a long time to realize these things exist already. I feel like I've seen it go a lot faster than this. It might be because of the size of our server though, as well. What's up, Sisek? Good to see you. Ooh, okay. Reload. Oh, did we not put that stuff in there? We didn't put the handlers in. So try to do the stuff, but it couldn't do the handlers that we tried to add in here. And I'm not sure the handlers are on the right level. Let me get all the way down here to handlers. Whoa, undo. Wow, redo. Wow, undo, redo. Oh, wow. Okay, I really messed that one up bad. I haven't messed that up that bad in a long time. There we go. And so let me make sure it's on the right level. Tasks. Now it's on the right level, I think. Yeah, all is well. All is well. Can't complain at all. Well, you can always complain, but I shouldn't complain. What's up, Sideweb? Welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. Ebony Graham, sorry I missed you. Welcome to the channel. Raleigh Java, thank you so much. I think I got everyone else, but appreciate it. It's good to see you all here. Okay, so these are indented wrong, I think. So let's grab these and let's move them in I don't think that's right. Handlers, go down to the handlers down at the bottom. Might have been fine before. GV, take it back over. Is this lined up? Whoa, what, okay. What happened? How did this? Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. It doesn't like this. I want to complain, but no reason. Exactly. Expected type array. That looks right though. Name. This appears to be completely correct to me. Handler should be on the right level. Name is right. Service. Name state. I think the whole indentation line might be problem. Handlers should be lined up with, I feel like it should be lined up with tasks at the very top. That seems right. Let me try to run it. It might be fine. But I can also just do a syntax check real quick. Okay, syntactically it seems fine. We'll see. We'll try to run this again. Maybe it's just, I don't know why it's throwing all those errors out. It looks like it's actually working. So good. I don't know why these underlines are for. Maybe no actual problem. We're super close. We're almost there. The last piece is the MySQL stuff, and we can paste and we'll talk about it, and then we'll deploy it, and we'll have a full functioning application. But I like this. It really does dive into a lot of the major concepts here that you can utilize to make things pretty dynamic. But this is what at least in my experience so far, this is what your Ansible looks like. It sure gets more complicated than this, but for the most part, this is what it looks like. Terminal. I don't want a new terminal. I want to bring back up my other terminal. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I ran the handler and that actually worked. So I'm actually going to go to the URL here. I'm actually going to grab the IP address and I'm going to try to hit it. And it might be serving up a default page right now, which it is. So you all can go to this IP address if you'd like. And it is serving up a default page. Now, this is a small server. If all of you go to it once, you might take it down, but it's fine. Like, do what you got to do. But it is serving web requests right now, but it's just serving the default page that exists when Apache runs, very similar to the one when Nginx runs. They are super similar to each other. And lets you know it kind of works and gives you some helper text if you want to do anything else. That's good. So let's hop into the last bit of stuff that we have here so we can get out of here. And the last bit of it is actually there's a bunch of stuff here. Oh wow. Okay, so let's do MySQL configuration, and let's do MySQL first, and let's break that down. Let's do MySQL and UFW all together, and then we'll do WordPress configuration, and we'll be done. So let's copy that. Let's get in here. Let's paste this right underneath. So now I'm going to redo this so that it now will basically disable. This actually disables that default site that we created, or that Apache creates on its own, because we don't need that. And we'll paste it in, and let's talk about this next bit that we have here. So the MySQL configuration. MySQL is the relational database that WordPress uses to run. It saves information, it stores information in a structured format, and it's really what drives it. It really is the thing that drives WordPress. And so what it's going to do? It's going to set up a bunch of stuff. It's going to set the root password right here. So it's going to create a user first. The root user is going to set the root user's password here. The reason why it knows to do these things, there are modules that exist inside of here. We can actually go find out all this documentation that we were looking at before. And so it has MySQL, it has database information of all the major databases you can use this for, and it's going to set up a root password. All right, so fairly straightforward here. Remove all anonymous accounts. Again, that's a paradigm that kind of exists inside of MySQL by default. Out of the box, you can set up anonymous users for this. We kind of want to, for safety, we want to remove those things. If you do the secure MySQL setup, MySQL has a secure setup, it will ask you to do, like, if you want to do these things. So this isn't super fancy. So it's going to remove all anonymous user accounts. Remove the test database. So by default, when you first install MySQL, it has a test database setup. It has a default data structure with just some random little information there so that you can mess around and test some stuff out. We generally don't want those, so we can remove those as well. So take a look at this. MySQL DB is the module that's used here, and it's the name of the database. And the state is that we want to ensure this thing does not exist. If there's a database called test, we want to remove it. All right. Login, and so this tells you what access you have with it. Login with root and the password as well. Creating a database. So before we're deleting one, the only difference between creating a database and removing a database is the state. So to remove a database, you want to make sure the database is absent. To create a database, you want to make sure that database is present. Pretty simple. Make sure it's there. Make sure that it's not. All these blocks are the same. Create a user, just like we did before, with a certain password. And the last piece is UFW configuration. This has to do with the firewall on Ubuntu. This is Ubuntu's firewall of choice now. I forgot. I think it's universal firewall or utility firewall. I don't know what it is, but it is the firewall that exists on Ubuntu, and this allows us to be able to open up the port. Now, we actually don't need this firewall rule. It's actually already open on our system. But if you wanted to ensure that it's open, you could put this here. I'm not even sure that we're running UFW. I'll leave it here. I'll see what happens with it. But that is what these different sections are. But again, notice how there's no new paradigms here. There's nothing new in any of these. The hard part is going to the documentation and figuring out which of these parameters you need to put in. That's the hard part. Other than that though, as far as Ansible goes, there's nothing new here. It's exactly what we've seen already, and it's going to set up everything that we need to do. We've seen every paradigm here so far. So you know that should make it, I'm hoping that makes it a little less scary for you. And so I'm going to save it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to run it and make sure that this runs successfully. I'm getting a forbidden message. You don't have permissions to access this resource. What did you put in your Vars default YAML? Oh yeah, Vars default YAML for what thing? I put this is my default YAML right here. I changed my host to wordpress.com. Oh, so actually your forbidden message actually might be because you left, I commented out a block. It might be because, like, are you getting that, Sensitivity? Are you getting that in the browser? Like, are you getting that when you're actually trying to access it in the browser? Because if you are, that's probably because I'm probably getting that now too. Like after this run, I will likely be getting the same thing. If you're, yeah, I will likely be getting that, because the reason why is because I commented out this line right here, not line, but this section. There's a section here that ensures that the default website is turned off, and it's line 58 through 61, and it disables the default site. So now, because I haven't installed WordPress yet, when I try to access it, it'll likely give me the same error that you got. And it's doing the last piece right now, which is running the handlers. And so you can see a bunch of stuff changed. And now if I try to go to it, it should fail because there we go. So yours is exactly correct, City. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The code is working how it's supposed to work. And now let's go ahead and dive into the last piece of this, which is actually getting WordPress installed. So although WordPress needs all these underlying things, although it needs a database, which we have set up now, and it needs connection information, it also needs WordPress, PHP, Apache. It needs those things. But once those things are installed, all WordPress is a directory with some files in it. That's all it is. It's some PHP files, it's some HTML and CSS. All it is. So now all we got to really do is you have to download those files and folders that you need, and you have to set up the configuration in them to point at the right database. That's really all you got to do. Say, hey, point it so that it can authenticate with the correct database, and put the files where they're supposed to be. That's really all that needs to happen. And that's what's happening during this WordPress configuration, okay? They are setting up some users and stuff as well, but the first thing is, hey, download and unpack the latest WordPress. So go ahead and grab those files. It downloads as a tar.gz file. You could download this yourself and install it on the system, but unarchive is a module that you can use to be able to download an archive and extract it. So it downloads this archive, think like a zip file, and it extracts it to where you want to extract it to. So we have this one here. It's going to download from this domain. The source is this website, so this URL, and it's going to download it. It's going to extract it to this destination. So it's going to extract it here, or it's going to download it here, and then it's going to extract it to this directory, to /WordPress. All right, so download it to here, extract it to here. It's going to make some changes. It's going to set some permissions here. So just ensuring that this thing exists, this directory exists, make sure that it's, you know, a directory that's owned by www data. It feels like we don't need to do that. The reason why we shouldn't need to do that is because we already did this above, to be honest, but we'll leave it there. Then it's going to set some permissions for all directories, and all it's doing is running a shell command. Remember, so what it's going to do, this find command basically is going to find every directory in, recursively in this where our site is, and it's going to set the permissions to 750 for directories, and it's going to set it to 640 for all files. That's just a security thing. Don't sweat understanding this command at all. It's just running a Linux command. It's just a long Linux command. As you get better at Linux, it'll make more sense to you, but we're just making sure that we're following good security practices here. This is the big piece. This is the big piece that has to happen. We have to set up the WordPress config file. Again, that WordPress config file configures WordPress, and the big thing that it does is it gives you database connection information. So this is where the database connection information goes. And take a look, this also uses a template. So this is the other template that we have to set up. So let's go ahead and set up that template and then copy and paste all this stuff in. So let's go up here and grab this template. That's info PHP, we don't need that. We need, maybe we do. Oh yeah, this is it. Why do they call it this? Okay. We'll take this long file and they call it, yeah, see, like, are they just called, like, this looks like a, hold on, this is a, they just called it a weird name there. This is the PHP config file. So wp config php.j2. Let's go ahead and get this set up on our system here. So underneath files, new file, I already forgot what they want to call it. wp config.php .j2, not JS, J2. And then let's go ahead and open that up over here, paste it all in there. And again, this has the exact same things as the other file. It's got a couple places where we are utilizing some variables, and it's going to create a template. This template is going to be used to create an entire file. So we'll take that, and then let's go ahead and take all the stuff that we have below here, which is the WordPress configuration. Wait, this needs to like go over a little bit. There we go. So we'll take all the WordPress configuration that we have left, because this is the last piece. And we'll stick this in our playbook. I actually probably wouldn't do it this way, but to each his own. All right, so again, So it's going to download that archive. It's going to extract that archive for us. It's going to set some directory ownership. It's going to set some permissions. It's going to take that template that we have, and it's going to create a file called wp-config.php. And it's going to insert all the things that it needs to insert into the template to create a file. And that's going to be everything. So let's run this and let's see if we get what we're supposed to get. Run it, we'll let it do what it's supposed to do. But while this is running, the thing that I want you to kind of take in is, if you run back through what's happening in this playbook, it can be tough to understand how to implement things in the framework of configuration management, because it really is, you are still having to do the things, like you're still doing the things manually. Well, you're not doing things manually, but Ansible has to do the things manually. So it does some better orchestration around it, and it doesn't always have to do tasks, but it is still doing those things. So you have to think on how you want to automate it, an automation program. So again, things like those notifies, sometimes it can be hard to remember what you need to restart or what needs to be updated. If something happens, you might have to go do something somewhere else. You also have to think through paradigms of, like, let's say you're installing something that doesn't notify anything up front, but maybe there's another tool that you have that has some reliance on this thing, and maybe maybe somebody deletes something and now the order is all weird. So it presents a scenario where, like, now if it tries to reinstall something can't be installed. It can get super weird, and it can be super problematic. Let's see what's happening here. Fatal changed Module did not set no log for update password. Unable to connect to database. Check login, user, and password are correct. Okay, so it has some trouble doing that. Okay. Where's set the root password happen at? Let's see if we can set the root password right here. It's having problems. Why? Module did not set. Oh, I need to do this. Set no log. So I can so it did not set no log. So let's try this first. This is probably just an option that we need to set in here, which is we can go look it up, but you know, I'm just gonna go with what my gut says, and I'm gonna set no log yes. Like don't log this. I'm assuming that's what no log means. I think the root password needs to be your Linode password. I don't think so. It shouldn't be, because it should be setting up the MySQL root user. Huh. I don't think, maybe it does. Maybe it does need to be that. Let's check real quick. Let me just run this to see if the no log warnings go away. I don't think the no log warnings are the problem. I just am interested to see what that is. But what we can do is let's go look at the documentation, and let's go look up Ansible. Yes, good question, Sin City. There are two. That's a good question. There are in fact two MySQL passwords. There is the root MySQL password, but you generally do not want to give WordPress access to your root MySQL password. You have your root user for MySQL to kind of manage everything, but then you want to create a new user with a new password for the management of WordPress, and so that's why we have two. And search docs for MySQL. Let's see here. No. I saw it. MySQL user right here. What is defaults? Yes, no, append. Login host, login password. Where was the? I see. Oh, I might have to give it a login host. Defaults to localhost, so we might not need that. Update password to always, or oh, I might need to change it to on create. Update password only on create might be the problem here. But let's see if that ran. Update changed. False. Unsupported parameters for MySQL user. No log supported parameters include. Okay, I need to remove that. I just want to try that out. That was dumb. You know, I thought I could YOLO it to victory, but I could not YOLO it to victory. Hold on. Where was the no log? Right here. Let me see what the error is. Let me get the error back. I don't know what it is, but we can fix it pretty easily once we know what it was. What's up, William? William B. Santos, welcome to the channel. Good to have you. What's up, Flig? Good to see you as well. Mittens, the Killer Bunny, welcome to the channel. I'm sorry I missed you. And Funyun, welcome. Paw FPS, good to see you here. That's everybody. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. We're just doing a little bit of Ansible today. So Ansible's running right now, and then we'll see what we need to change with the MySQL user. But I bet it's this update password. Always passwords if they differ. But no, that makes sense. It should be it. I don't know. Ansible is logging the password. Need to disable logs for the test. It's fine that it's logging the password. Disable logs. But is that what's killing it though? I get that for the warning. I understand that. I definitely understand that for the warning. But like we're getting a complete error. I'm fine that it's logging the password because it should only be accessible locally. Okay, here we go. Let's actually read it. Unable to connect to database. Check login user and login password are correct. Okay, so login user and password, and it says using password no. So let's look at the login user and login password, but this is for setting root password. So this has to do with the initial setup, I feel like. But we also Now we need that to create the user, I guess. What's up, Mivoid? Thank you so much for, or my void. Thank you. I feel like that's it and not Mivoid. I don't know why I said that. But thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. That's love right there. Yeah, the warning isn't the problem. Yep. So it seems that the issue here is simply that it's getting access denied for root at localhost. The password is incorrect. Basically the password's incorrect. Like the initial password to log in, I can't log in as root. And if I can't log in as root, I can't do any of the other things, to be honest. Hold on, let's take a look at it real quick. And set root password, MySQL root password, tags MySQL root. Let's see. MySQL Server installs with default login user of root and no password. To secure this as part of the ID potent playbook, we must create at least 2 tasks. Change the root user's password without providing any login user. Login password. Oh, okay. Oh, become might be one. We might be able to. That's good thinking actually. But I think this is the problem. To secure this as a user, you must create at least 2 tasks. Change the root user's password without providing any login. So I wonder if it's because we are providing. Maybe I need to change it without providing any login. You looked it up on Stack Overflow. Wait, don't give me the answer yet. Don't give me the answer yet. Don't give it to me yet. Just become just run task users root. You don't need to do. Yeah. We're not authenticated right now. The issue is that we're not authenticating with MySQL. It says that makes sense. By default, it sets up a root user with no password. So we need to be able to change it without providing a login user. It said. So we didn't provide a login user, but this is for all the other anonymous accounts. It's not even getting to this point. It's failing on the very first one, which feels like we're doing what we're supposed to do, but it can't. Okay, let's look it up. Ansible, MySQL root, password change. Let's just do it. Let's just see what we get in here. Oh no, this is actually like, this is like the whole thing. This is too much. This is way too much. I don't want all this, but I'll leave it up just in case. Let's look at this on Stack Exchange. Password. Let's check implicit admin. The problem is Ansible is trying to use the same root password to log in as you want to change it to. Okay. Change it to set user password. Login user MySQL. Obviously, it's never going to work if you're going to change it. Instead, you have to change it to this old root password, which I guess is empty string. That seems weird. Something like this, but it says login pass, but it said don't use login password. Or we can just pass in a my.cnf, but I feel like, I guess I can try this, which is, I guess we could try an empty string for passing in login password. That seems odd, but okay. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not passing in a login Unix socket. Maybe it's because I'm not passing in a login user at all. Maybe. Send empty string. This feels wrong. Let's login. So they are using a login user, which would be, which login user equals root. I'm gonna take this too. I'm gonna take all these. Check implicit admin to yes, and login user. So let's try that. And does this need to be a string? I'm gonna try it without it being a string first, because I think that is a string. Login password. Let's try this. Let's yellow this. All right. This may work for us. Also, to be very clear, this is what your job will likely look like. You'll run into a problem and you'll be like, okay, let me let's go look at some documentation, and you'll find some Stack Exchange things, and you'll say, yeah, okay, let me try that out, and then you'll try it out. You know, it's okay. It's not always beautiful. It's not always chicka typing it all out. You know, it is what it is. This is real world. Yeah, I think it has to do with the Saga file as well. I think I think I need to remove the Saga file since I added it in the user. And yeah, I think I think that's the problem as well. Which I will remove this. I don't even know what yeah, because look at this. It's trying to log in through the socket. And it might, I mean, it should be there. That actually looks right. It should be there, but it's having trouble logging in through that. I'm gonna let it keep, it's already this far, so I'm gonna let it keep going, but I will delete this. Let's see what happens here. Okay, cool. Let's remove that line. I don't think we need it. Are we missing anything else from the example that we saw here, which is, you know, has 17 upvotes, the host, password. Hold on, let's put it here and here. Host. Oh, I think host is a problem too. I think. I mean, I'm assuming it's logging in locally. It said localhost is by, no, I think it said it does localhost by default. Check implicit admin. State present. It's got a state present here. Sure. We can put that in there. Just to make sure. It's already going to be there, so okay. Let's go with this. Let's see what this looks like. Let's check it on out. Fresh install of MySQL on Debian. As far as I can remember, if you have invalid root password on install, you need to run the service with a file, set a password, then run it normally. Yeah, I haven't used it. It's same. Like, yeah, I haven't. I feel like that I can see that being the case. I feel like what we copied is just old. Like, when was this written? And I feel like that might not be the case anymore because we are on the newest version. And this was on 1804. I mean, 2904 is not that much newer. Not even 2 years. I thought this should work just fine. But let's see. We'll see if that's the problem. I do feel like the socket is the problem though. But we can add it back. Sin City, were you able to? You say you looked at Stack Overflow. Were you able to figure it out yet? Okay, that didn't work either. Can't connect to the database. Let me see. Access denied for login password. Login user and login password are correct. So we could do we could create a my.cnf. Access denied for root and localhost. Using password, no. So it's not using the password, which is what it should be doing on the first setup, right? On the very first go. I feel like it should be doing that. Real quick, hold on. Here's what we're gonna do. Real fast. I want to check something out. And actually, maybe the MySQL installation has changed. MySQL default root password. Maybe it's changed. Username is root and there's no password. So let's log in. real quick. Let's test this out. Whoops. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially the problem right there. It's supposed to not have a password, and then trying to connect, I guess, to the socket is also causing problem, but I wonder if it actually did set it. -P, what do we call it? We made the password something that is in default YAML. Oh, maybe it's not following some rules. MySQL root password. Okay, so it has changed. It did work. It worked. It worked. That's good to know. So it's having trouble running this section of it though. Like it worked once, and now I think it's having. Oh, interesting. So the thing is, okay, this is what I think is happening. It did set it on the first run. It did set it properly on the first run. The problem is now, because it's trying to set the root password as it goes in each time, I think it's trying to check to update it every time, but it can't authenticate with MySQL to even do what it needs to do, because now that it's not using the password now. And so now that I've done that, I think I have to change it to, I think now I have to add this. Like, you run it once with it off. Oh, that's weird. Like, I think now if I take this here and I paste this and I remove the check implicit admin, I actually don't even know what that means. I should look that up. But I think this will work now. I think a run like this will work, and the rest of it will go through, because it can authenticate. It did change the password to the password that we set it to. So that's super odd. A little quirk with MySQL. There's probably something that we missed that wasn't included in this walkthrough, but something that now we've learned a little bit. We've learned that, setting MySQL passwords or root passwords might be a little bit weird with Ansible upon first bootstrapping of MySQL, I guess. But let's see. We're almost there. I mean, as long as we can make the connection, we will have a site and it will be up and running. So, but we were able to connect via that. Let me actually see. And it actually created our database. The site might be up. Actually, we might be doing all this for no reason. Actually, there's a significant chance actually that we're doing this. Okay. All right. No. Forbidden. All right. Let's let it run. Let it do what it needs to do. I guess it didn't get through and set up all the permissions, and that's why we're still getting some of these the 403s, permission denied. So look at that. Now it worked. That did in fact cause it to work. See, that's a little bit of troubleshooting right there. Things can't always be great. Sometimes you do got to go and check it out manually to see what's happening, to make sure things are being weird. Remember last time MySQL being a pain in the ass? Yes, I agree. This is why if I can stay away from MySQL, I do that. I stay away. So what we have to do is, all I did was remove that implicit login line. Well, you might be able to keep that. What we had to do is the password is changed. The problem with it is that after it changes it the first time, when it goes to try to make sure this is set when you run it in subsequent runs, it can't log in as root because you changed the password. So now it's no longer trying to do that. You have to change this login password to the same thing as this up here. You have to change it to, you got to make them equal to each other so you can actually use that password to actually log in. You could probably remove the whole block after the first time, but that's super weird. Super odd. Okay, so now it did everything it needed to do, which means now, we are not, things are not working. And you know what? This probably has to do, okay, I'm gonna try something out real quick. This I think has to do with me accessing this at the root of the system. But let me check. Let me look at this real quick. Because we didn't give it a domain, it might have to do with that. Let me see how they access it up here. Host server IP. So everything should be going here. We did a star though. It seems like something, we might be missing something, and we can log in to the server to check in a second. Everything should have got restarted. The site, we're getting a forbidden. Now let's troubleshoot. Let's do the last little bit of troubleshooting, and I'll show you how to troubleshoot something like this. Where is my actual page? I'll hit my 403. All right, so check this out. We're getting a, you don't have permission to access this resource. And we're getting at this website on port 80. We're logged in. I'm gonna take a look around real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to var www. There is WordPress. There's this WordPress.com. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. I think. Hold on. In here, let me make sure everything is right. So www data owns this. Great. So let's look at our Apache virtual hosts. So I'm gonna go to SE, Apache 2, and 3D conf. CD sites. Okay, I think it's set up in Apache 2 conf. I think this is the, actually what file did it set up? It set up the virtual host. It set it up at sites available, HTTP conf. What do we call it? Yourdomain.conf. Okay, so available yourdomain.conf. All right, so set this up, and here's the problem. I think this is the problem. It's trying to go to wordpress.com domain, but I think it's supposed to be /WordPress. I think that's the problem. And right here, and the directory right here, I think this is it. All right. And so I should have fixed that with code, but I want to make sure that it works. How do you restart Apache service? Cause I could just reload it, but not service, system, CTL. Okay. And what do we got? We did it. We did it. So let's actually fix the code to properly do this, because if we run this again, so watch this real quick, real fast. If we run it again, it's actually gonna break the site again. It's gonna break it. It's gonna break it. We should go fix it. Let's let it break it again. The reason, so I don't know why it did that. It just had to do with directory pathing. Once you get more comfortable with web servers, the reason, like when you see those access denied, it's almost always like if you're confident you have permissions and stuff set up right, it's almost always that it's referencing the wrong directory. Simple pathing problem is pointing at the wrong place. Let's fix it via code though. Can I see the password part you changed again? Yeah. All I did for the MySQL root password change was all I did was add in, so we had to add in login user root and login password. So the first time it runs, it probably works. And the second time it runs is the problem when you're having a problem. I actually think if you just add these two lines, I think you'll be fine. Login user root and login user password, and set it equal to the same password that's getting set to up here. I think we'll I think will ultimately solve it for you. That's super odd. I'm very interested. I'm sure there's blog posts on this to see what the heck is happening here. But again, I want you to see that when this breaks the site again, remember about that consistent configuration. Okay, that consistent, reliable configuration. If your configuration isn't right, then you know it's gonna break some stuff. All right, it's gonna break some stuff. So now I refresh. Actually, did it ever do the handler? Yeah, it did some handler stuff. And if I now refresh, it's broken again. It is broken again because the files that are here, that are supposed to be here, is pointed at the wrong place. Let's change it with code really quick because that's the right way to do it. And the way that we can change it with code is we have to change it in 2 places. I changed something in the virtual host conf, and I changed a directory. I changed it in the virtual host conf and somewhere else, I think. But let's see. Let's change it here. One of the places it's doing this is it's doing document root and it's putting it at HTTP host. I actually think the problem is the directory is getting created instead. Where's it creating our directory at? So it's creating this file, which is our HTTP host. Okay, that's good. Oh, but then it's the problem is the extraction of the files. That's what it is. Check this out. It's extracting everything into /WordPress. If we do this instead, if we do that, I think that will fix it. It's extracting it into a directory that we don't want it to get extracted to, and I think this will solve it. I might have to move where it downloads to, but I think that will fix it. All I did was on what is my line, wherever you get to the WordPress configuration part. So mine's on line 116. I changed to where it creates a directory. So it's creating this extra WordPress directory, which I don't think we need to have. And hopefully this will extract it right in the HTTP host directory rather than putting it in this other directory. And actually, maybe we don't even need this creates. This creates might actually fail because this directory already exists. But if we keep that as it was, we can keep that as it was if you'd like. There's another /WordPress. May want to check that too. Where? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. But the good thing is that this will, it won't find this directory though. Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for a second. The good thing is that this is recursive over to here. So if, well, no, it's not. It's gonna look in there. It's recursive in here. Okay, we'll see what happens. You're right. It's probably gonna cause issues. So instead of changing all that, I'll simply change the other. I'll simply change the virtual host config, so I can change it in one place. Not really better, but you know, it's what it is. Got to make it work. We're loading Apache now. We're starting Apache now. I don't know why I was doing both, but okay. And let's just quickly see. Now, okay, cool. We will change it right back real quick. So leave that, leave what you just did in there. So /WordPress was right here. So line 122, change that back. And what we can do is we can change this right here to /WordPress. So it's the document root right here and right here. And I think this will solve it for us. So all I did was just add the /WordPress to here to lines 9 and to lines 5 of the Apache template, the Apache config template. And I think that will do it for us. I really do. And we can push this code up. I mean, they already have this code, but this is, you know, it's now going to work for us. Still get the same password error after changing it. Interesting. So the thing is, you could actually remove the whole thing. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. you could remove all of it. No, you can't. Create MySQL user for WordPress. I don't know. Try looking at the thing that I found. Let me see. Try adding in this check implicit system admin. Try this. I'll send you the link. Try that. Come on, finish up so we can also finish up. Whoops. Almost out of water. That's the sign, 32 ounces of water. It also means your boy probably's got to go, take a little soon. So, just good timing. That's all I'm saying. Just good timing. But I do think this will work. So change Apache virtual host. That's good. Which should all of these things should initiate a notify, which should notify the service to restart or to reload. We'll let it get there. Change some files and directories. Great. Yep. Yes. Bio break. Exactly. But I usually make it all the way through. I usually never have to take one, and I don't have to yet. But it just after a certain amount of time, it is what it is. We are people. Okay. So let's refresh it. And booyah, didn't I say it would work? Yeah, I did say it would work, and it worked. I'm gonna set a site title, and I'll call this Ansible site just because we need this Ansible. I'll copy this password, even though you can see it. If you want to copy it and log in, great. Valid username, root. I'm gonna delete it in a second anyway. An email address. Install. It's going to set up our site. We can log into it, but even if you just go here instead, we now have actually a real site up and running. If you need it, don't log into my site. I'm about to delete it anyway. But yeah, and we can log into the back end and do some stuff. But we've now set up our own WordPress site via this piece of code. And what's good about this is you could extend this to install. Now you have a way to install WordPress very quickly using Ansible, and you could redo it anytime you ever needed to install WordPress. You could do it quickly, and you could extend it to be able to install as many WordPress sites as you want on one system. You could extend it, but we did it. Very, very exciting. Even though we went through a walkthrough, but we talked about some of the things. Hopefully, you got to see that you could write code to do systems configuration. Okay, you can use it to manage your systems. You describe what you want, you define what you want, and it'll give it to you. That's the whole gist of the infrastructure as code thing that we've been learning. That's the whole gist of Ansible. It's really, really good. It really can make your life super easy. Yes, it might be harder to put up this work up front. It might be easier to just log straight in and install stuff up front. It may feel that way, but I encourage you to try to use a tool like this to automate it as much of it as possible. If you automate all this, what do you use interns for? That's a tough question. That's the $1 million question right there. It should be on lockdown. It really should. It needed roll. I agree. This needed roles. I don't like that they put all the things in one file. I wouldn't do that at all. But yeah, the directory error. Where's T-Bell? T-Bell's not an intern, and T-Bell's not. He ain't around right now, to be honest. There are others around. We're still cool. Me and T-Bell are still cool, but you probably won't see him very much on here. Maybe when we do another panel or something. What was the directory error that we? Oh, okay, the directory error. So when it was giving the 403 permission denied, 403 is simply a web status code that says, hey, you don't have access to this thing. The reason why it was broken was because of where this is extracting WordPress to. So WordPress is downloading this archive. It's downloading the file and it's downloading it to this directory. But when it extracts it, it's creating this directory. So the site actually exists in this directory, var www, whatever you put in as this variable /WordPress. But the problem was this configuration file was saying, hey, the root of the server, the root of this website is actually at this is how it's set up. The example that they gave us, it's set up like this. And right here, it's saying, hey, so whenever you go to the website, it was looking for the website in this location, but the website's not in that location. It is in /WordPress because that's where it's being extracted to. So that was the issue right there. Cool. Well, that was a long 3-hour stream. We will certainly, one of the reasons, don't sweat it if you're like, bro, what was that? The goal, Ansible was the goal, not necessarily understanding this Apache config and stuff. We will very soon dive really deep into web servers, because web servers do a lot of cool things. You won't often need to do a lot of the things, but it's getting comfortable with the web server is a good skill to have, even if it doesn't matter which one it is, to be honest, but it's a good skill to have because it's easy to transfer that knowledge. But yeah, so we are that's it. We kind of did it. What's happening tomorrow? No, so this is pipelines. Tomorrow is I have a track day on Friday. So to make sure I'm not sure if I'll get back in time. So we moved Horizons. Horizons is now moved to Thursday. So tomorrow we'll be doing Horizons, which is cloud computing with AWS, but we'll be doing a Lambda lab. So if you've never done serverless functions, if you want to write a little Python, we will be doing a Lambda lab tomorrow for Horizons, and we won't be doing anything on Friday though. And then we will be back on Saturday. But yeah, that's what we're doing. But hopefully, what should you now know about DevOps and SRE after 8 weeks of diving into these things? What should you now know? You should have an understanding of what DevOps and SRE what it's supposed to be. The different tools that enable these. Remember, these are cultural movements. These are methodologies. They're ways of doing things that are powered by tools. And we got to dive into some of these tools. All right. And remember, if you ever want to go back and find out what these things are, remember, don't forget about that roadmap.sh site /DevOps. These are the tools and these are the categories of what they solve, which should be super helpful. What we're going to learn as we go forward from here. So we dove in a couple tools. You got a little feel on Linux. You got a little feel on infrastructure as code. We did some stuff with Terraform, some stuff with Ansible. We did a little bit of networking, a little bit of cloud computing. We just touched on all these things. We're going to submit this a little bit more in April. So the next run will start in April, and it'll be the intermediate level. It'll be the journeyman level. And again, it's going to be scenario based. So we did a scenario based one last time. This will be a different scenario, and it'll also be a little more focused than the last one. We tried some stuff last time. I wanted to see what worked, what didn't work. It'll be a little more focused in what we do. So you'll be walking into a job, and we will be learning the skills through solving problems. So we'll have reference infrastructure, and we will be solving problems. And yes, there will be a little baby by then. So we'll have a little baby on here helping us out. We'll see how all that works. But I'm pretty committed to it. So we'll definitely be doing that. Yep, I can upload it to GitHub now. But continue, I know it's a lot, but continue to listen to the terms, continue to dive into more videos. You don't need to kill yourself trying to memorize everything that happened. And if you forget this, forget that, if you don't know, like if someone asks you a question you don't know, it's okay, it's all right. Just keep surrounding yourself with it. You'll keep picking it up. It's a lot, it's so much information, but we're going to keep diving into it. We're going to keep touching it. We're going to keep having a good time. And so next week we're doing tracks. So the 4-part Git series. So come on through for that. And we're doing Waddle. So Linux, if you're interested in diving into Linux and learning Linux more in depth, we're going to do a 6-part Linux series, and we're doing a 4-part Git series. And then after that, we're doing a 6-part, and kind of like also kind of be like in conjunction with each other as well. So it's not in order. We'll be doing Git and Waddle. We're running those at the same time. And then we'll be running containers. So Docker, a 6-part Docker series, and we'll be doing a 6-part Kubernetes series. So those are the things that are coming up now. And then we'll start the next run of boot camps after those are done. Maddox, thank you so much for the tier 1. I appreciate it. Well, it's good to see you. Really, really good to see you. Let's push this up to GitHub really quick. Let's create a repository for this. But YAML, I'm going to delete my hosts. Cool, and I'll leave example hosts in here for you all to have and to be happy with. And I'll save this here, and let's go ahead and let's push this up to GitHub. Oh yes, thank you. Let me put that's good catch. I appreciate that. Oh, y'all always looking out for your boy. I appreciate that. I should just put a thing in here, but I'm just gonna remove terraform.star. Let's get that out of there. And ls-la. I should just put a git ignore in here. That would have been easier, but not as fun as just deleting everything. And I'll do this. I need to set up my GitHub CLI. I need to set up my GH. Oh, wait. Oh, it is set up. We set this up? Perfect. I don't even need to leave here then. Cool. GH repo create. Yeah. I'm gonna call this mastermind IO / what should we call this? Ansible WordPress. Make it public. Will this remote origin to your current? Yes. Okay. Yeah, didn't even need to leave it. Git add, git commit. Terraform and Ansible. We're deploying WordPress to Linode. Come on, push -u origin master. Okay. Now, how do I get it? Oh, here we go. That's the it should be here. Let's make sure it's there and it's available for you all. But that's nice. I forgot I had the GH the GitHub command line tool CLI installed. So I never have to go in here and actually do it if I don't want to. Repository, let's make sure it got up here. Ansible WordPress. There you go. If you want it, you got it. All right, so congratulations. Good job sticking through it for the past 8 weeks. Come on through tomorrow if you're trying to learn a little bit more cloud computing, if you want to do some development, if you want to learn how to use serverless functions, come on through and let's have a good time. And then we can get ready for all the other fun stuff. Prime's still on. Prime's been on for like 5 hours. We are rating the Prime again because we haven't actually, yeah. We're gonna head over to Chelsea Bites. So Chelsea Bites doesn't generally stream in science and technology, but she is a computer scientist. She does a bunch of fun other stuff. I'd definitely love to introduce you all to her. Let's go over and say hello to Chelsea Bites. I don't know what she won because they're a winner. She's a winner. She's cool. I've had some pretty cool conversations with her. She's actually going to come by the stream one day, and we're trying to put together some stuff right now. And she's usually not on when we're done either. So we're gonna head over and say hello to her. And let's make sure we type this in. I gotta go do some work and get some food. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good, wait, no, I typed that in completely wrong. Wait. It's like the sea, like the ocean. There we go. But I appreciate that. Good to do this. Thank you so much. It's good to have you all here. It's good to spend some time as usual with you all. Thanks for making my evening great. Had a good time. Go get some rest as well. You've been on here for a long time with me. Let's go say hello, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out. Peace out, Beverly. We are out. Let me click the button. Where's the button? Peace out.